Now I can get going. Okay, I apologize for that. I know that's amateur hour, but I don't have any other way to get these tested than to just ask you guys, how's it going? That's it. That's it. Okay. This is the second to last day of the year, which means it is the second to last day of the first quarter of the millennium. Or no, I guess the first 25 years of the millennium, but the first quarter of the century. So I will give you sort of a recap in just a second. It's going to be a little longer, perhaps, of an opening statement than normal. Am I sponsored by Adidas? No, but I want to be. That's like a lifelong dream of mine, to be sponsored by Adidas. Okay, so here we go. Let me bring in the opening statement. Oh, Baron Coleman, that's my name. The Real Baron Podcast, that's the show. You guys are more than welcome to join us on live most every Sunday night, and then sometimes Monday, sometimes Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday, sometimes Thursday, 3 or 4 days a week. We're getting there. We're getting there. Very close to being a full-time program, but still in a transition right now. Still in a little bit of a transition. So, yeah, I would love to be sponsored by Adidas. Nice Adidas sponsorship would really set everything off. All right, let me get the opening statement pulled up here, and when I do, you guys will be wowed. How about that? You guys will be absolutely wowed. All right, I apologize. I've invested in a little equipment upgrade here as the year ends. So that's the thing. I'm trying to satisfy everybody here. Trying to satisfy everybody. Okay, here we go. Today is the second to last day of 2025, which means it is also the second to last day of the first quarter of the 21st century. For those of us my age and older, the 1900s still feel like just a few years ago. To my teenage children, the 1900s might as well be the 1700s. A lot has happened in the last quarter of a century. We began 2001 with a peaceful transfer of power from Bill Clinton to George Bush. Except for some modest clashes in Eastern Europe and the Horn of Africa, America largely had not been at war for much of the prior decade. After the first Gulf War had wound down in early 1991. Other than some political dust-ups between the thin Republican majority that became the thin Democratic majority when Jim Jeffords jumped the aisle in the Senate, news was fairly slow. Then September 11th happened. It had been more like, it's been more than 24 years, It's been more than 24 years, and we still don't know precisely how or why September 11th happened. All we know is that it changed everything about the federal government's relationship with American citizens and kicked off two of the longest, most expensive wars in American history. The war in Afghanistan started less than a month after 9/11. Biden ended it in August of 2021. It lasted nearly 20 years. Officially, there currently are no American troops in Afghanistan, but I don't know if the government can be trusted on that. The war in Iraq started 17 months after the war in Afghanistan in March of 2003. That war officially lasted through the end of 2011. However, there are still thousands of American troops in Iraq to this day, almost 22 years after the war in Iraq began. Estimates of the number of military and civilians killed as a consequence of the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq range from around 1 million to upwards of 5 million total lives lost on all sides. That doesn't count the millions and millions of people wounded and traumatized, and the millions and millions who were forced to flee as refugees, or the trillions of actual dollars spent, or the trillions of dollars in damages caused by the wars. In addition to these and other wars that came out of 9/11, we also got a brand new giant bloated bureaucracy in the Department of Homeland Security. And we also gave away our last semblance of privacy with the Patriot Act and the nationalized basic services like airport security. In 2004, Massachusetts kicked off the gay marriage craze in America. Their state Supreme Court overrode the will of their voters and mandated gay marriage in a state that didn't want it. Bright blue liberal California put the issue of gay marriage on the ballot in 2008. It also was rejected by the will of the voters. Like Massachusetts, California courts also overrode the will of the voters and mandated gay marriage in a state that didn't want it. In 2015, the United States Supreme Court overrode the will of all voters in all 50 states and mandated gay marriage nationwide. In late 2007, the global financial crisis kicked off. Housing prices plummeted everywhere. Established commercial and investment banks collapsed. The federal government bailed out basically any business being deemed too big to fail. Insurance companies, banks, car manufacturers, and more. Things got so bad, America opted in 2008 to throw Republicans out of every office imaginable up and down the ballot. Democrats beat Republicans nearly everywhere. At the top of the ticket, Barack Obama topped John McCain. The firmest and most tempered glass ceiling finally broke with the election of America's first Black president. Obama ran on healing race relations and restoring peace to America's foreign policy. He did neither. Race relations somehow got worse, and America's foreign policy somehow got bloodier and more violent. Apart from starting wars and festering racial unrest in America, Obama's signature political accomplishment was passing the ironically named Affordable Care Act, which purported on its face to make health insurance more affordable and more widely available. It did neither. Healthcare costs for the average American have skyrocketed 4, 5, or 6 times higher since the Affordable Care Act passed in 2010. Nobody called it the Affordable Care Act. Everyone called it Obamacare. Obama fans thought the term was endearing. Obama's opponents burned with anger when they heard it. Republicans ran every election after Obamacare passed, almost exclusively and solely on the issue of repealing Obamacare. There was always some excuse for it being unable to be repealed. Obama was never going to sign a bill repealing it. Democrats were never going to vote for it. When Republicans finally had both a Republican president and Republican Congress, the vote repeal came down to a single vote in the Senate. John McCain, in one of his final acts of his disgraceful political career, voted against repealing Obamacare, despite having campaigned for his final Senate term just months prior on the issue of repealing it. Donald Trump finally ran for president on a major party ticket after threatening to run for president since 1980 or so. He descended down the golden escalator in 2015 and promised to return American government to American people. The establishment predictably hated the idea of the great horde of unwashed masses having any say whatsoever in their own destiny or how their government should prioritize domestic and foreign affairs. They fought Trump every step of the way. Fake Russia scandals, multiple impeachments, even a corrupt re-election campaign that still to this day has unanswered questions about how the votes were cast and tallied. Some even wonder aloud in polite company whether the entire COVID-19 scam was perpetrated on the 8 billion or so people on Earth in order to remove one single person from the White House. Regardless, it worked. He was removed in part because of mail-in ballots and election irregularities made possible by the unprecedented loss of rational thought during the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic, of course, caused in much of the world a complete loss of freedom, up to and including the freedom to leave your house or enjoy the company of other people. It truly was an unprecedented loss of civil liberties. Governments shuttered businesses and even churches. Job losses were immediate and measured in the millions overnight. Threat to human life was so real that society couldn't risk you being around more than a few people at a time. And even then, only if you promised to stay at least 6 feet away from each other and wear a mask. And that largely held true and unchanged for months. No mercy was allowed for weddings, funerals, or visits to lonely shut-ins. If you were unfortunate enough to need to go to the hospital or die during this time, you were going to have to suffer alone. The risk was just too great. There were to be no exceptions. Human lives mattered too much to risk spreading COVID. There were no exceptions, that is, until the Black Lives Matter protest kicked off. Then all of a sudden it was fine. Thousands of people could gather in close proximity with or without masks. It didn't matter. Human lives, as it turns out, didn't matter. At least human lives didn't matter as much as Black Lives Matter mattered. The Black Lives Matter movement took the country by storm. The marches often turned violent. Stores were looted and burned. Cars were overturned and burned. The news declared this violence mostly peaceful. When Biden's still warm but slowly cooling corpse finally took the presidential oath of office, Black Lives Matter no longer mattered. And then the marches stopped. Order was largely restored. COVID lockdowns finally were lifted. American life went back to normal. Or at least it went back to some version of normal. American life truly never went back to normal, at least not normal as normal was defined before all of the events we just discussed. Donald Trump got reelected in 2024, and he wasn't the same. He isn't the same. The conservative movement isn't the same. Trump popularized America first, and now his presidency seems like America second. And even putting us second might seem kind. The reality is Donald Trump is a shell of himself. America is a shell of itself, and that's sad to me. Because after living through the quarter of a century that comes to a close tomorrow night, I don't even know where we go from here. I don't know if it's possible to go back to where we were, back to a pre-9/11 mindset. I think about the topic that has consumed our side of the political aisle over the last 3+ months, Charlie Kirk. He was only 7 or 8 years old when 9/11 happened. I'm not sure how much of a person's life is remembered from birth to age 8. Not much, I suppose. I remember a few things here and there from before I was 8, but not a lot. And I doubt I'm alone in that. And that means nearly all of Charlie Kirk's cognizant life was lived in the past quarter of a century. Taking off your shoes and belts, getting on an airplane seemed normal. So too was knowing the government was stockpiling your private information in a government data warehouse to do God knows what with when they needed it. So too was perpetual war in the Middle East and beyond. A constantly and consistently debased currency, a constantly and consistently eroded dollar, a constantly and consistently diminished quality of life. I don't know what little 7 or 8-year-old Charlie Kirk thought life would be like when the first quarter of the century had come to a close. I doubt he imagined at that young age he'd be neutralized in broad daylight, or that his death would consume certain segments of the news and divide the political right. And there was no such thing as social media back then in the pre-9/11 days. The internet was in its public infancy. There was no Google. There was no YouTube. There was no Facebook or Twitter. Citizen journalists didn't really exist, and if they did, they usually mailed out some monthly newsletter on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper stuffed in a number 10 envelope. Everyone else got their news from approved news sources like the New York Times, NBC News, or perhaps for those on the truly cutting edge, cable news sources like CNN or Fox News. Had Charlie Kirk been 31 back then instead of 7 or 8, and had he been neutralized in broad daylight at the beginning instead of the end of this quarter of a century, the news coverage of his death would have lasted a day or two at most. The anchors in the papers would have told us he was shot from 142 yards away with a .30-06. Few among us would have raised our eyebrows. It wouldn't even have dawned on most of us to seek out whether it was even possible, much less true. And that's the real divide. There are those of us who want to go back to a country where we remember at the beginning of the 21st century because we dislike the current surveillance state, the current war state, and the constant political division. And there are others who want to go back to the beginning of the 21st century because they dislike that they have lost the ability to control the narrative of any story that makes it into the news. There's a third group, I guess, who likes both the division and the chaos, but we're not going to dwell on those people right now. Because tonight's show focuses on the divide between the first two groups. On the one side, you have viewers of this show, fans of Candace Owens, fans of people like Tucker Carlson, and so many others who perhaps naively believed Trump's original promise that the government should be returned to the American people. We are the people who refuse to accept the Fed slop narratives forcefully shoved at us with each new news story. We want to be convinced, not told. And when we are not convinced, we want to be heard, not ignored. On the other side, you have the politically connected elite who have no interest in the pesky public having a say in much of anything. This includes groups on the left and right, by the way, groups claiming to be Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives. They routinely rub elbows with the rich and powerful. When they run for office and win, they stay for life. They vote with the establishment. They shill for the establishment. This includes the groups who support them. Groups purportedly from opposite political ends, but groups who exist because both sides exist. Think Southern Poverty Law Center, the Anti-Defamation League, the ACLU, the Heritage Foundation, and TPUSA. None of those groups exist without the other side being strong and well-funded. Nobody at TPUSA, for example, is going to become a millionaire overnight if the perceived other side isn't strong. And trust me, a lot of people at TPUSA became millionaires overnight. This is the context. This is the nearly quarter of a century of context into which the Charlie Kirk investigation was born. This is the context into which the story of what happened at Fort Huachuca was born. And this is the context that explains why the other side of this story, the Fed slop side of this story, is losing their minds. They can't get this inconvenient story to go away. There was a time in which Mitch Snow would have never been a part of the Charlie Kirk story at all. The first time we're aware that Mitch Snow tried to get someone to hear his story was by making a comment on Valhalla VFT's live stream. He later had a friend email Candace Owens, who called him on her cell phone on her way to church. She searched the internet to nail down his story and confirmed details he was given to her. She then talked about it on her live stream. None of this would have happened a quarter century ago. None of it. There is no Mitch Snow. There is no Fort Huachuca story. There's no discovery of a SAM 702 flight on that day because there's no flight radar and there's no flight aware. There's no social media to disseminate the story. There's no army of thousands of citizen journalists keeping the story alive and pressuring those involved to answer for where they were when they allegedly were seen near Fort Huachuca on September 8th and 9th. And the people in power, the elites, they despise this reality. It's why they've activated every asset to destroy Candace Owens and Mitch Snow. They want to bury this story. They long for the days when they didn't have to answer to anyone for anything. And they can't. They can't stop this story. No matter what they do, they can't stop it. No matter what they do, they cannot stop it. They can't stop the story because they can't stop you. You are who is keeping this story alive. You are the ones demanding answers. You, the viewers. You, the people posting on X and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. You. They can't stop Candace because they can't stop you. And in light of that reality, I want to spend some time tonight looking at what happened last night on Candace's X space and the fallout that took place today. I also want to take a look at Tyler Robinson's transcript from his closed hearing that was made public today. There are a few little nuggets in there that I don't want to get lost in the news cycle. And I think the frangible round theory can finally be put to rest. It wasn't popular very long. It just came out a week or two ago. It surfaced as a convenient alternate reality when the 30-06 round hitting Charlie's Superman trampoline neck failed about 10,000 times to be recreated with a live 30-06 round. That theory basically was put to bed yesterday. I'll explain where that happened and how that theory was ended. And if we have time at the very end of today's program, if we have time, we might get into Beardgate and Cabot Phillips' magic beard. But first, I want to get into Candace Owens' X space yesterday because it was wild. It was wild. All right. So that was the opening statement. That was a little longer than normal. That clocked in like 2,700 words. So I try not to be that long typically. I hope the sound was okay. I wasn't able to see your comments while I was doing it. I upgraded a few pieces of sound equipment, but now I've got to dial the settings back in. I thought I had it going pretty well there for a while, but now I got to bring it back in. I don't have a ton of clips from the X, but the ones I have are dense and they require absolute responses because I felt like a lot should have been said or could have been said, not by Candace or others, but just provided additional context, provided a little bit of additional context. So let me pull this out, make sure I've got the times right. I do. Make sure I've got the sound on there. I do. Make sure I'm sharing because this is a professional program, ladies and gentlemen. We don't just act like we're sharing and then I look over here and you guys don't hear what's going on. That doesn't happen anymore. No. Not when there is a professional program like this. No. All right. So let me do a little setup. And she's going to be talking to a citizen journalist, an InfoWars reporter, and she's going to be asking the question here. What is it? I can't remember his name. Harrison something. What is it, Harrison, that bothers you so much about this story? Harrison's been giving her hell on X. Obviously, InfoWars in general has been giving her hell on X. So let's look. What is it, Harrison, that bothers you so much about this story? Let me know if you have trouble hearing.
So, Harrison, if you want to unmute yourself and jump in, that would be great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I guess my whole thing is, why does this meeting even matter? Like, what is the actual claim that's being made here? That's been my confusion the whole point, the whole time, is like, okay, let's say that there's absolute proof, photographic evidence that everything that Snow says is true. Like, who cares? I mean, what does that prove? What is the actual accusation? Who do you think was conspiring with who to do what?
Yeah.
And I think obviously the name of the episode was, the day before Charlie Kirk was murdered. The insinuation is that this was a assassination planning meeting, which I don't even see any evidence of that. And then people I'm arguing with online are saying, no, this has nothing to do with the assassination.
Yeah.
So, I guess, if the space is why this matters, why does Ford to Huachuca even matter? Like, what is the claim being made? I still don't even understand that.
All right, let me answer. Now, she gives a great answer, and I'm not knocking her by answering it separately. But let me answer this the way I can real quick. Because before I got into talk radio, one of the things I did was I would listen to callers ask questions to the host, and then I would mute the host and I would answer as if I was the host. So let me go back in time, 25 years, back to the beginning of this century. And let me play this. Harrison Smith, I've learned, is his name. Harrison Smith, journalist at InfoWars, citizen journalist at InfoWars, 8th generation Texan, if his X account is to be believed. He asks, why does this matter? Why are we even talking about this? She was polite. I almost got my bad cop hat out and put it on. Harrison, I hope you're listening. And if you're not, I hope someone sends this to you. Here's why it matters. A national treasure was neutralized in broad daylight. We don't know how it happened, but we know the story we've been given is not true. Because we've been told he was shot in the neck with a .30-06. That's impossible. That hasn't happened. We know for sure that hasn't happened. And so it raises the issue. How did he die? How did he die? If he wasn't shot in the neck with a .30-06 and there's no allegation that any other gun was involved, how did he pass away? What happened? How did he get killed? It's in the context of that a rando comes along and says, wait a minute. I was at an intelligence base the day before Charlie Kirk got killed. This is the Mitch Snow story. I was at an intelligence base the day before, and you'll never guess what I saw. I saw a guy who looks just like Brian Harpole coming out of a meeting with a bunch of lieutenant colonels and higher. It's unbelievable. You should have seen the collection of brass in this meeting. It was top notch. It looked like the Pentagon was meeting live in Arizona. Well, you got to start to establish a few things. And so Candace, before bringing this to our attention, before talking to anybody about it, she looked in and said, well, prove you were even there. Prove you were even there. So she does. And he sends pictures. He sends videos. He gives her receipts. And he establishes a fairly credible story about having been there. He gives her details. Now keep in mind, the details he gave her, he did not back up at the time, such as the police were called. Like he didn't provide, I don't think, a police report at that time. But he said the police were called. And that's important. I'll come back to that in a second. But he identifies, I was in this building over here. I stayed at this hotel right here. Here's my receipt. And he puts forth enough information that at least it becomes credible that he was there. Now, Harrison, I want to ask you as an InfoWars reporter. let's say you had information from Butler, Pennsylvania, June or was it July of 2024 when Donald Trump was buzzed in the ear? You had information from Butler, Pennsylvania. A random guy calls you and he says, Harrison, I've got a lead. I don't know if there's anything to this or not. But the night before I was at, I was in Butler, Pennsylvania, the night before Donald Trump was taken down. And I know there was this high-level meeting, and it was full of top brass. They were all meeting at this building just off of Butler, Pennsylvania, just off of there. There was this building, and it had all these government cars there. And I swear I saw someone close to the president. I saw J.D. Vance coming out of that meeting. Well, that's, you know, considering J.D. Vance was then named the vice president like a week later, or the vice presidential candidate like a week later, that would be relevant, right? And so you might say, well, prove you were there. Show me you were there. Do you have receipts? Do you have video? Do you have audio? Do you have photography? And he sends you all this stuff, and he proves he was there, and he's making this claim. And in addition to J.D. Vance, he says, you know, I saw somebody else there. I saw, I don't know. It's hard because he's the president, so it's hard to make this comparison. But I saw members of his Secret Service staff. I didn't even know they were members of his Secret Service staff. But then when I saw that he was shot the next day, and I saw who picked him up, I saw that guy that picked him up, and he was at that meeting too. So it was him, and it was another one of the friends. And so if you, Harrison, get this call, are you going to say, no, I don't think I'm going to run with this, because you can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? If this went to court, there's not enough right now to convict any of these people. So I'm just going to sit back and not look into this at all. I'm not going to investigate it. I'm not going to mention it on air. I'm not going to call any of these people. I'm just going to ignore it and act like you never called me. Harrison, if the answer to that question is yes, if you say that's what you would have done, you're a liar. You're absolutely lying. You're absolutely lying. That's not what you would have done. And I go one step further. If you would have been the one to get this call, Harrison, if you would have been the one to get this call on this story right here, on the Charlie Kirk story, you would have brought it to the public's attention. I guarantee you would have. I guarantee you would have. And so what did you want Candace to do? Prove the guy was where he said he was? She did. And it's subsequently come out that he actually was there. His son confirmed. The police called him because he was on the fort on that morning. And so that's a piece of confirmation that Candace Owens didn't even have at the time, Harrison. So, like, even beyond what she was able to prove, they've gone on to prove. And so it is impossible for me, Harrison, to believe for half a second you would have sat on this story, not looked into it, not dug into it at all. Or if you did dig into it, you would have come across some aggrieved ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or some estranged son and said, well, I'm telling you what, this guy, he did some bad things 19 years ago. I'm probably going to ignore everything he said. I'm probably going to assume he didn't see anybody, because if he did that 19 years ago, you can only imagine he was lying. He's never told a truthful sentence about anyone or anything at any time ever since. So don't give me this BS about, I don't even understand why this is a story. I don't even understand why this is a story. It's a story, Harrison, and everybody, and Alex and Evan and everybody who's pushing back, Gary, Nate, no offense, Nate. It's a story because the guy identified specific people on Charlie Kirk's team. And we were later able to confirm that the rest of his story about being there adds up. He was able to prove he was there. He was at the building he claimed he went to. All of that adds up. And so you're left with a story that you're saying He told the truth about absolutely every part of it except two facts: seeing Brian Harpole and seeing Erica Kirk. Other than that, everything he said is true. Nonsense. It's a nonsensical position. Guys, that's why I opened this show the way I did. You people who are wanting to kill this story are just upset that you can't. You're upset that this story is getting away from you. And that's the fact. That's the reality. You're ready to move on. You've been activated. You are been told, get this story out of the way. Be done with this story. That's just a fact. That has to be the reality here. I'll blanket it with saying it's my opinion just for legal purposes, but that has to be the reality here. Because it is impossible for me to believe that you, Harrison, you, Alex, you, Evan, you, Morgan, you, any of you people are sitting there thinking, you know, this guy told the truth about everything. He told the truth about the building he was in. He told the truth about the police being there. He told the truth about where he stayed. He told the truth. He told the truth about every aspect of this story. But by goodness, when he looks and he says, I think I saw Brian Harpole, surely he was lying. So that's number one. That's the number one part. And I thought Candace, I'm going to play her answer in a second. I thought her answer was good, but I think she was trying to be friendly. I'm not. It is absolute BS if a single one of you people questioning the Mitch Snow story would have sat on it and buried it, all because you knew he had a domestic violence allegation 20 years ago. If you say that, you're lying. You are absolutely lying. You're not telling the truth. The truth is not in you. You sit on a throne of lies, to quote Elf. It is the season, after all. That's why it's important. It's important because if it's true, and everything else he said has been proven true, if it's true, everything else he said about that day, about the meeting and everything, if it's true, the consequences are so overwhelmingly deadly that they must be tracked down. If Brian Harpole was there, we must know who he was meeting with and why he was there. If Erica Kirk or Cabot Phillips was there, and I'm not saying any of these people were there, but if they were there, we must know why they were there. If there was a sitting congressman there, we need to know why. We must know why. That's why it's important. That's why it's important, Harrison. Here's her answer, a little different from mine.
So it matters because why would Brian Harpole be on Fort Huachuca at all, right? It matters because he's giving an alibi, which means he doesn't want to be associated. Like, it could have easily not mattered, kind of, to speak to your credit. He could have been like, yeah, I was at Fort Huachuca with my brother. And my brother's in the military. I was dropping off some food. Okay, like that could have been then suddenly a dead end. That would have been nothing. Now, because Mitch had described this as a top secret meeting in an off-site building and had described this as top brass at the Pentagon and said that these sorts of meetings, and I am forgetting the military term, are when you're just about to embark on like a mission. I know I really uneducated, but military guys will sound better saying that. It was compelling. Like, okay, like I said, Brian Harpole was acting funny. He's been acting weird. He's been telling verifiable lies, and he cared enough to present an alibi, meaning he didn't want people to think he was there, right? So if you have to,
and therein is the key, in my opinion, to the entire thing. Both Brian Harpole and Erica Kirk have attempted to put forth alibis. I think that is probably the point, the most important point she was trying to make. It matters because, you know, if they're at a meeting, then they're at a big military meeting the day before Charlie Kirk dies, and that's concerning. But the bigger problem is both Erica Kirk and Brian Harpole have attempted to set forth alibis. Now, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. If you try to put forth an alibi and it fails, you're stuck. You have two options when you're accused of being somewhere: ignore it, or along with ignore. You can ignore it, or so option A is kind of divided. I love decision trees. Option A is, I'm not going to provide you an alibi. I'm either going to ignore it, or I'm just going to tell you I wasn't there. And I'm not giving you anything else. I'm not dignifying it with a response. So you say, but Baron, were you on Fort Huachuca that day? I can say, no, I was not. I definitively was not at Fort Huachuca. I wasn't in Sierra Vista, Arizona. I was not there. That's a public statement. I'll put my signature on it. Brian Harpole hasn't made that statement that I'm aware of. Erica Kirk hasn't made that statement that I'm aware of. Cabot Phillips hasn't made that statement that I'm aware of. And even the congressman hasn't made that statement that I'm aware of. Nobody has said that I'm aware of definitively. I am speaking and telling you for a fact I was not there. Nobody that I'm aware of has said that. The question must be asked, why? Why would you not tell everyone that you weren't there? That has to be asked. It must be asked. If you were accused of being in a high-level government meeting on an intelligence base the day before your husband or solid asset dies, wouldn't you say, what are you talking about? I wasn't there. No way. I was in Dallas kissing my dog and kid before I left to go defend Charlie Kirk against 20-year-old gay kids who live with furries. No. Show me the statement. Get on X. Get on YouTube. You can come on this program. Any one of you can come on this program. I'm sure Candace would have you on her program. I'm sure Nate would have you on his program. I'm sure Valhalla would have you on. Dee Dee would have you on. Colin would have you on. Clint would have you on. Anybody would have you on. If you want to come on and say you weren't there, I will have you on. We all will have you on. There's a reason I think no one has done that. And I will speculate out loud right now what that reason is. If you're accused of being somewhere, it is better. How do I want to word this? If I'm accused of being at a high-level meeting the day before Charlie Kirk dies on a military base, it's better to fail to establish an alibi than it is to lie and get caught lying. Because if I get on and if I come on the Real Baron podcast with Baron Coleman, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the podcast, by the way. If I come on the Real Baron podcast, I'm sitting there with Baron Coleman. He does his little screen division thing, right? And I'm sitting on one half and he's sitting on the other. And Baron asked, hey, were you there that day? And you say, no, I wasn't there that day. I was definitively not there that day. I was in Dallas with my dog and kid. You better hope to God at that point, nobody has a picture of you there. You better hope to God that Mitch didn't take a picture. If you're a pretty blonde girl at a hotel the night before that meeting and you're there with Cabot Phillips or some other guy with a mustache, if you're there and you come out and you definitively say 100% under oath, hand to God, I was not there, and you don't realize how big of a pervert Mitch is, and you don't know he takes pictures across the hotel of pretty girls with their hair pulled up, and he's sitting there with a picture of you on his phone, what do you think is going to happen now? Now you're an on-the-record liar. Far better to try to get Gary from Paramount or someone else to just try to get the news off of this. Try to get it put into the public consciousness that you weren't there without you having to deny it. So that if a picture comes forward, you can say, well, I never said I wasn't there. That was a misunderstanding. Gary was talking to Andrew. Andrew didn't know. I didn't say I wasn't there. I was there. And I was there because of X, Y, and Z. It's the same thing that happened when Candace, when she came to Nashville and she said, Erica said, do you have a copy by chance of the text that was sent to Andrew Colvett or the text that was sent to so-and-so from Charlie saying that they thought they were going to kill him? And she said, no, I don't have that text. Oh, well, here's what it said. What it said was he was scared the left was going to kill him. Oh, I didn't realize it said the left was going to. I thought it said they, and we know who they is. You know what I mean? So I didn't, I wasn't sure. But now that you're telling me it said the left, yes, plausible deniability. That's exactly what this is. Plausible deniability. You better hope there's no surveillance footage from the hotel. You better hope there's no surveillance footage from the base. You better hope there's no picture from Mitch as he's wandering around sitting in the corner and he sees a pretty girl. He doesn't go, huh, zzz, tick, tick. Remember her later. You better hope. You better hope. Because I'll say this, Mitch remembered what her eyes looked like. He remembered her hair was pulled up. He remembered what kind of watch the boy was wearing. You remember that? He remembered what kind of watch the guy was wearing, what kind of truck they got into. That's an awfully good memory for somebody who didn't take any pictures. It's an awfully good memory for someone that didn't take any pictures. Almost like he zoomed back in to look at the watch. I don't know. I'm not saying he has pictures. I'm just saying that's what I would be afraid of if I was denying being there. I would, in fact, not go on the record denying it. I would probably have Andrew Colvett texting Gary while Gary's on the air, suggesting you should move on. You should give him something. Give him anything. That's what I would do. If I was actually there and I would just try to do anything I could to get the news moved on. I would pay people to attack Candace. I would pay people to attack Mitch. I would dig up everything. And you know how I know they're digging up things in people's past? They're doing it to me. They're digging up stuff in my past. A court case I got involved in 11 years ago when I was a witness in a court case between a sitting Speaker of the House and a sitting Attorney General. Well, if that's where they're headed, if they're just going to try to assault everybody, that tells me they don't want to go on the record and say they weren't there. And if they don't want to go on the record and say they weren't there, you tell me why you think they don't want to go on the record. All right, so here is the next clip. This is a girl named Morgan who has been assaulting this story on X, Morgan Ariel, and she asked the question, or she poses that she doesn't think it's a story because Mitch isn't credible. So we'll play her nonsensical drivel and then we'll address it.
And the style of needing to announce it, I think, was a bit different. And I think that's why you kind of got the reaction that you did. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to have the floor and say what you wanted to. Morgan?
Oh, hi. I didn't know that you were talking to me. I'm sorry. How are you?
Yeah,
How is everybody?
good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for giving me the floor because there's been so much freaking drama in the last couple of days, and everybody I feel like has been trying to pit us against one another for some reason. And I keep reiterating, I have no issues with Candace. I'm still 100% on board with the investigation. I have my reservations about Mitch, and I feel like I should be able to voice those concerns. And I know that a lot of people don't care about his past or his history, or I don't even want to say only his history, because currently it's my understanding that he does have open cases. But when we're looking at, somebody's credibility, how can we find them credible if the only thing that we have to take is their word for something? And right now it's he said, she said. He said that he saw people there and we can only take his word for it. And when you have every single person in his life, not only the exes, but his children, who he's never had custody of any of them, they all say the same thing, that he's a pathological liar. Yeah. I have trouble trusting an individual like that. And I just want to make sure that we stay on track in finding out what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Where is she from? Is that Minnesota? On track. Make sure we find out what happened to Charlie Kirk. I don't know where that accent's from. That might be one of you accenters might be able to figure that out. So Morgan's point here is, if I may do my best to try to distill her point out of whatever that nonsense was she just did. Her point is, hey, oh, by the way, I found where he's told something allegedly, where it's been alleged that he's told some things in the past that aren't true. That is the sum total of what she just said. I have been informed that he has done some things I don't approve of. Well, Morgan, I mean, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Morgan, I'm sure you've done things you don't want me to know about. I guarantee it. Every single person on this chat, every single person in the audience, every single person that's watching Candace, every single person involved in this story, I guarantee you has done something or perhaps many things that we don't want people to know about. We might be embarrassed by. People might judge us and assume we're full of crap if they found out about it. That's just a fact, Morgan. It's like, you know, you find out somebody had a DUI and you're like, well, I don't want any of my kids riding with him. He had a DUI 9 years ago. Well, brother, like, if every person who ever drank and drove was on the record, you wouldn't even leave the house. You wouldn't move. I'm talking like 80% of every car on the road has drank and drove. Every single one. Like, the idea that you're going to discount 100% of everything somebody says because they are alleged to have done some shady things. What a nonsensical position. The courthouses would come to a complete standstill. You would never convict a murderer again. You would never convict anyone of a drug deal. Never. Never one time. It's possible, Morgan, that he has told the truth some. Like, for example, he said the police were called. Well, people were holding up the police report. And they were saying, well, that's not even a California license plate. Well, that's not even how the Washington State does their driver's licenses. This must be absolute bupkis. We don't even have proof that the police were there. We don't have proof that this police report's real. It's not even on paper. It's in an email. She pulled it up. There's a cursor on the screen. How can you believe a police report that has a cursor on the screen? Well, the kid confirmed the cops were called. His own kid, who was brought on to try to trash him, confirmed that, no, in fact, that police report is real. The police were called. They called me. Oh. So he does tell the truth, Morgan. So he does tell the truth. That's interesting, Morgan. Oh, okay. I mean, I just don't understand this mentality. And here's the thing, just like Harrison, I don't believe that Harrison's telling the truth, that if this had fallen in his lap, that he would have ignored it because he would have found out Mitch had some DV issues in the past. Hold on, I want to pull this up because get the hell out of here. Leave, John, Joe, whatever. Get out of here. Go home. Here's the problem with people like you, Joe. I haven't defended a damn thing. I haven't defended a single thing of his. All I've said is he was at the base, Joe. You are everything that's wrong with this country, Joe. Everything that's wrong with it can be summed up in that sentence right there. I'm not defending anybody. And if you're too retarded to understand that, Joe, get the hell out of the audience. You're not smart enough to watch this show. You're not smart enough to watch it, Joe. I don't want stupid people in the audience. So if you're that stupid, get out. It's a high IQ outfit. I'm not defending anybody. What I'm saying is, Joe, it's possible you can be a bad guy and also identify Brian Harpole. Those two things are possible, Joe. Bye. Get out of here. You people make me sick. This is the sum total of everything that's wrong with you guys. This is the sum total of everything that's wrong with your side. Here is how Candace answered it, a lot more politely than I just answered Joe.
Yeah, and so I think what I would offer back is that's what we have been doing. So rather than speaking to his son, I contacted people on the base. You know, like, okay, he said that somebody named Neff, which is what he said initially in contacting me, Captain Neff was the one who questioned him. So rather than speaking to his son from 22 years ago, I think the people would say, why don't you speak to somebody who's on Fort Huachuca base now and see if there's a Captain Neff there? And that's what we did. And we confirmed that Captain Neff and the 10th Brigade was there. He said it was in an offsite building, a JTF offsite building. we spoke to people at the base and they told us this is the exact building, here's where it is in the map, and they are borrowing the space. He told us that this incident happened and the bomb dogs were called. So I made an effort and successfully got the police report. That's how we verify whether or not he's a pathological liar, is by verifying what he said, right? And so that's why, as I said before you jumped on, I reached out to the people that were involved. I reached out to Brian Harpole 3 times. He wanted to give an alibi in the sense of like giving flights for 3:42 that afternoon. Okay, so what's stopping you from giving us what you're doing at 7:30 a.m., right? Like that kind of is what's weird. It's like you give half an alibi that doesn't matter, but you don't want to give the full thing. You don't want to just message me and say, hey, just, that wasn't me.
See, Joe, here's the problem with people like you. This is the problem with people like you. This is why your low IQ is not welcome here, Joe. I've never said a thing that's defended Mitch when it comes to the domestic violence or anything like that. But Candace just went through all the steps she took to verify parts of his story. In other words, was he at the base? Well, she verified he was. She had the police report. His son later confirmed the police report was accurate. So that's number one. 2, what about the building he said they used? Was that really the building they used? She calls someone at the base and they say, yeah. In fact, they do use that building and they black out the windows and it's set up as sort of a secure facility. Oh, well, what about this? What about every single step of the way? She's able to verify, Joe, what's happening. Now, Joe, that doesn't mean that we then take that and say, oh, well, it was verified he was at the base. That means he never abused a woman. No, Joe, that's a retarded position. That's dumb. That's for stupid people. That's for low IQ people. We don't have that here. We don't allow that in our audience. So you have to go. That's not logic, Joe. That's not how logic works. In fact, if you want to step up your game in society and be a more productive member of society, you can subscribe to any number of logic programs. You could audit a logic class at your local community college or your local university. You could sign up and say, I'd like to take a logic class because I'm stupid. You could do that, Joe. You are more than welcome to do that. You can go, Joe, and say, I'm sorry, I am so low IQ, I'm so stupid, I'm unable to contribute in an adult conversation online. Do you think there's a logic class at this local college I could take? Maybe an introductory class, a philosophy class, perhaps, that'll help me learn how to think? That'll teach me that if I'm defending somebody on topic A, that doesn't mean I'm defending them on topic B. Do you have a class like that I could take? Joe, I bet they do. And if they don't, I bet you could find one online. In fact, I could probably look for one for you, Joe. I could probably find a nice introduction to logic class that you can take, Joe. Oh my goodness, I got a whole bunch of them here, Joe. Let's pull these up and look at them. Joe, this is the class for you. You have no idea what you've just walked into. Look at this. You can buy this book right here, Master Books Homeschool Curriculum. Introduction to Logic. It's a whole curriculum pack, Joe. You could get Introduction to Logic by Irving M. Koppel. It's a Macmillan hardcover book. They have it for $7.09. Joe, for under $10, you cannot be stupid. You can learn how to think critically in society and get along. If you want to step up your game, if you have a little more money, here's an introductory logic course. Now, it's a 5th edition, Master Reasoning and Logical Thought. Now, this is almost $30, Joe. That might be above your pay grade here, Joe. Look, Stanford University. That's a respectable university. It's free. Joe, it won't even cost you anything. Look, it's free. They got a whole page. Joe, there's no reason for you to be like this, Joe. This is free. This is absolutely free. You don't have to pay for it. I bet there's YouTube videos. We could probably find a YouTube video. The whole Introduction to Logic YouTube. I bet they have one. You could learn to not be like you are, Joe. Introduction to Logic. Look at this, Joe. Unbelievable, Joe. I got a whole bunch of stuff here. You'll never believe it. Look at this. We've got a very basic Introduction to Logic. Chapter 1.1, Introduction to Logic. 7-minute introduction. Joe, there's no excuse for you to be wandering around in your condition. There's no excuse for you to be wandering around in your condition when all this material is available for free on this very platform. Shout out to YouTube, really getting it done out there. Sorry, Joe. I was unaware, Joe, you were in this condition. I was unaware you were stricken. Poor Joe. Poor Joe. Grew up in a family of stupid people, and now she has to suffer this abuse. Not her fault. She was born into it. It's not her fault her parents didn't teach her how to think critically. And you're defending a bad person. I can't believe it. You're terrible. All right, here we go. This is... I can't remember who's doing the speaking here, but we're going to play it anyway.
Well, here's a good example. Harrison, you posted 2 weeks before Charlie Kirk died that there was a credible threat against his life. Has the FBI reached out to you to ask you about that?
No.
All right, so what this is this is great. This is great. I wish I'd had the background to set this up. I put credible threat against Charlie's life, but I couldn't remember what I put that there for. So what happened was Harrison Smith, the reporter at and I'll pull this back up a second. The reporter at InfoWars, Harrison Smith, the one who was saying, why does Fort Huachuca matter? About 2 or 3 weeks before Charlie passed away, Harrison put a tweet up and it said, listen, somebody contacted me and said Charlie was worried about a threat on his life. And then we all know how that story ends, right? A couple of weeks later, Charlie's dead. Like, you can't get worse. A couple of weeks before Charlie Kirk died, Harrison Smith, a reporter at InfoWars, tweets on the platform X, puts out a post on the platform X and says, I have information that someone close to Charlie said that Charlie has a threat against his life, or is afraid there's a threat against his life. I don't remember the exact tweet. I mean, it might be different, but think about it. That to me, if I'm the FBI or I'm the Utah County Police or I'm UVU police or whoever's doing the investigation here, if I'm looking at this at all, like even on an introductory basis, or if I'm Tyler Robinson's defense team or the prosecutor, here's the thing. Prosecutors aren't just shouldn't be trying to just put people in prison. They should be trying to get the right answer. They shouldn't just be trying to clock victories. They should be trying to make sure the public is safe by getting the right answer. Well, nobody contacted him. That's what he said. That's what he just said. Somebody asked him, I think it was Sam Parker asking him, but somebody asked him and said, hey, you made this comment that there was this alleged threat against Charlie Kirk's life. Has anybody contacted you? I'll play it again here in just a second. I'll pull it back up and play it, because now that I have the context, you might be able to follow it a little more closely. And if not, it's only 30 seconds.
There's no curiosity, right? Like, when did we say, well, here's a good example. Harrison, you posted 2 weeks before Charlie Kirk died that there was a credible threat against his life. Has the FBI reached out to you to ask you about that?
No.
Also,
No.
are you going to tell us who that was? It feels like that might be relevant now.
Yeah. So in the absence of a rigorous investigation by the agency, we are led to lead this investigation. That is why Fort Huachuca is so relevant. But I was going to ask you, thank you, Candace. Can you tell us who told you that? Because
he's
the
dead
FBI is not asking you.
Yeah, I mean, the person that told me asked me not to say who they were, so I'm not going to give up a source.
I can't fault the guy for not giving up a source. I'll be honest with you. I don't think journalists should give up their sources. I can fault the FBI, the Utah State Police, the Utah County Police, the UVU Police, the Tyler Robinson defense team. I can fault the prosecution. I can fault every investigatory body in the United States of America for not immediately picking up the phone, calling Harrison Smith and saying, oh, hey, by the way, who was that? I absolutely can do that. I absolutely can be frustrated with that. I don't think the guy should be giving up his source on a Twitter space. Granted. But I do think he should be telling law enforcement. Now, we have since learned today that he has, in fact, given the information to law enforcement. He did, in fact, give the information to law enforcement. We've learned that. And so now, apparently, law enforcement has access to that information. Because of that, we might be getting closer to some sort of a resolution on who that could have possibly been. Why is my screen? There we go. Okay, so as far as Candace's X space, there was a lot there. I don't want to have to go back through all of it. There was a whole lot there. I'm not going to sit here and play a 90-minute X space on a show that I try to keep to 60 to 90 minutes of content. And I promised you several other things. And I didn't know I was going to have to teach Joe about how to find logic classes. I wasn't aware. So I'll do this next one quickly. I have, where are they? I have the transcript from Tyler Robinson's hearing, and I've marked a few pages here for us to review as a family. Now, you will notice I'm cheap and did not buy a Scribd subscription, so I'm going to have to scroll a little bit because of it. But that's okay. That's okay. What I want to do is I want to focus on, I don't want to go through all the procedural stuff. That's kind of irrelevant to me. What I want to do is I want to go over some of the items that jumped out to me as a lawyer and as a keen observer of legal matters. I want to go over a couple of things that jumped out to me as things you might also want to know. For example, let's start right here. This is Tyler Robinson's hearing. This was a closed hearing that the judge initially sealed, and then they had a motion hearing last week to unseal this, and this is the result of that unsealed motion. There are still some redactions, but to be clear, there's a very small amount of redactions. But I want you to, this is where they introduce the idea that there is a person on the Utah County prosecutor's team who has a family member who was at the Charlie Kirk shooting. So let's read together, shall we? I hope this is big enough for you guys to see. Let me blow up my screen. Does that look, can you guys see this? Let's see here. I can tell the court after spending 2 hours hold on. That's the shackling. I don't care about that. Let me go down to this. I had my numbers in lines backwards. All right, here is where they talk about the conflict of motion, the conflict of interest. Says there's another motion which we've also discussed with counsel for the state, and they're well aware that we're going to do this. There's a motion to actually disqualify the Utah County attorneys from representing the state. If the Utah County attorneys want to represent the sheriff as an entity for security purpose, that's a different issue, and that's a procedural issue. The question was whether the sheriffs could enter their own appearance. Don't worry about that. We're focused on whether there's a conflict of interest. And then he checks to make sure they're in a sealed hearing. He said, the Utah County attorneys have advised us that a family member of one of the attorneys was present at the incident at which Mr. Kirk was shot and killed. That this child, I don't know if that's an adult, but I'm not referring to them as a minor. The child was present, observed it, was within 85 feet of Mr. Kirk when he was killed, had to flee. That the Utah County's attorney's office was all advised of this, that the law enforcement were actually deployed to the area with her safety and status in mind. I'm not trying to pre-argue this, Your Honor. So they filed a motion to disqualify because, and this added to me a little detail I wasn't aware of. They added a motion to disqualify because, and it sounds like it's obviously a bigwig at the Utah County Attorney's Office, because when the officers responded to the scene, they responded with the safety of that child in mind. That's a new fact to me. I was not aware of that. That doesn't sound like some low-level third-year assistant district attorney. That sounds like the child of the actual county attorney. If we're being honest, that's what it sounds like to me. The attorney's office was advised law enforcement were actually deployed to the area with her safety and status in mind. That to me is pretty shocking. Because if you're a prosecutor, now here's why I want to bring this up. Let's assume you're a prosecutor. We know how protective people get of their children. You're a prosecutor. You're prosecuting a guy that you believe potentially, or it's in the back of your head that this guy might have caused you that level of trauma in your life. You're no longer impartial. You're no longer one of those people who just wants to find the right answer. No. You want justice. This guy put you through hell. This guy caused you to think your child might die at a live shooting event. We've all seen the live shooting events on television. We've all seen the live shooting events from schools. We've all seen the live shooting events from all these different malls and churches. We know how terrible and tragic and horrible they are. And as parents, I'm a father of 8 children, age 19 down to 5. You don't think I've thought about this? What is it like to get that call? This attorney got that call. But this attorney had political power to send officers to the scene with her child's safety in mind, or his child's safety in mind. No longer are you disinterested. You want vengeance. You want blood. I think that's a big issue. I think that's a big issue that if I'm the judge, I have to think, I'm not too sure if we can be disinterested here. I'm not too sure how this is going to end. Now, here's a second issue I want to raise. There's an issue of biologics that get raised, meaning blood or saliva or fingerprints or whatever, but there's a fear that they might be disappearing. I want your opinions because I don't know. I thought about this, and I'm curious your opinions of what you think this is. Here it is. Starts on line 17 right here. There are 2 other motions I think the court should be aware of that are docketed. There's the defendant's motion to preserve evidence. Let's see. It's really a question of what evidence needs to be preserved and what advance notice needs to be given to us before biological evidence can be used, even if it might disappear. And so we're going to at least try to meet and confront that. So what they're saying is, and he says, we have different definitions of materiality. But what we'll do what we can to eliminate these things. So what they're saying is, Judge, we don't want to bring any discovery disputes to you. We're trying to reach some sort of an agreement, but there's biological evidence that might go away. What is that? What is the biological evidence that might go away? Not a fingerprint. Fingerprints don't go away. Now we're told, oh, you had a fingerprint on the trigger, fingerprint on the gun, case closed. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, fresh and breezy. No, friends. It's not that easy. Now we're talking biologics. What is it? That's bothersome to me. And that it might go away is even more bothersome to me. That's even more bothersome to me. We get our first indication here of how long the defense thinks this case might be around. We get our first indication on this page 16 here, how long the defense thinks this case might be around. And I thought this answer was very interesting. She says, the defendant's lawyer here, first of all, because we are looking at a very long case, this case is probably going to last a long time, hopefully. Well, why? Why do you hope this case is going to last a long time? No one followed up on that. No one asked about why they thought this was going to be a long case. That's concerning to me. Remember, you have a right to a speedy trial. Now, some states waive that right if you ask for discovery. I understand that. And I don't know what Utah's rule is. And I don't, like in Florida, I think you have 175 days to be tried. I've actually used that to my advantage in a case down there one time. It was like 171 days. I was like, y'all going to try this case in the next 4 days, or we're going to get a plea deal? Or do you just want to dismiss it? Because the clock, it is a running. So that happens. That has happened before. I thought that was interesting, though, that they think this case is going to be a long trial. This case is going to be around a very long time. Someone in the chat said perhaps Charlie's body is the biologic, and that is a great issue. Maybe that's why he's not in the ground. Maybe they're unable to establish that there was a bullet wound in the neck. I believe that to be the case. I believe there's difficulty establishing that. I don't want to say any more than that right now. I don't want to say any more to that. Oh, this is an interesting one. This is a great one. Our first clue as to Tyler Robinson's life before this case. This is interesting. All right, I'm going to pull this up. Interesting piece of history here on Tyler Robinson's life. Starting in line 11. Now, Mr. Robinson has, as I understand it under state law, this is, I believe, his counsel again, a right to privacy and confidentiality with respect to his medical records, his mental health records, his psychiatric records, if any. They say if any, but I think you'll find out the way they answer this question, it might be more than if any. It might be more a fact that they exist. Well, we read on. He has a right to privacy and confidentiality with respect to his medical records, his mental health records, his psychiatric records, if any, even those created in custody. And so I'm not going to offer up those records. This is his counsel saying, I'm not going to give those records to the state because he has a right to privacy on those records. Nor would I think the court would interpret what I'm going to say as a waiver, but the sheriff has those rights. In other words, so the question that's in front of the court, if you read this whole transcript, and I read every word of this transcript, I read some parts of it a couple of times just to make sure I knew exactly what was going on. I didn't want to mislead anybody in this audience. But there's a question of whether or not he needs to be shackled and cuffed. There's a question in front of the court. Do we shackle and cuff Tyler Robinson every time he's in court? Or is that limiting his right to participate in his trial? Not about wearing jail clothes. That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about shackling and cuffing. In other words, is he a danger to those around him? Might he turn on his, grab the neck of his lawyer and try to squeeze the life out of it? Might he jump across and try to get his hands on the prosecutor or the judge? Might he go for the bailiff's gun, right? I mean, it's a relevant issue. The guy is accused, at least, of firing a weapon and taking a life. So at least there's an accusation on the table that this is a potentially violent person. And so we need to, what they're saying is, look, his medical records are relevant. The judge is able to look at him. The sheriff is able to look at him, but we don't want the state looking at him. Ladies and gentlemen, what is in those records? What is in those records? My curiosity was piqued up to hear that they think they have records that the sheriff might be interested in, that the judge might be interested in, as the judge tries to determine if he is a risk to those around him. But they don't want the state to have them because presumably they might prejudice his defense. I thought that was an interesting tidbit. I thought that was an interesting tidbit. All right. Just a couple more clips from here. A couple more. Going to the night he turned himself in, ladies and gentlemen. That is discussed in some detail in this newly released transcript. So let me pull this up. Again, this is a question of whether or not he is a danger to himself or those around him. His defense is using this in support of his position that he is not a danger. What do we know about Mr. Robinson that goes to the court question is he surrendered. So this was always an issue about he surrendered. What was the nature of it? Remember, we heard about this retired sheriff that was a friend of the family that helped out. So we get some detail on this right here. What we do know about Mr. Robinson is that he surrendered. A neighbor of his. Oh, now we know the former deputy sheriff is a neighbor of his. The neighbor of his, I'm sure the court's read enough of the materials. I think it's even in the probable cause statement. You don't have to read the public accounting. A neighbor of his was a retired sheriff from Washington County. And he in this case being Tyler Robinson, he got in that man's car and they took him to the sheriff's department with his parents in the vehicle with him. That, if you're just doing some run-of-the-mill bail assessment, would be a factor in support of release, a factor, okay? So what the lawyer's saying here is you can't act as if Tyler Robinson here, or at least this one fact, you would use this in favor of saying Tyler Robinson's probably a pretty mild-mannered guy, right? He's probably not a threat to jump over counsel's table and go after the prosecution. He's probably not a threat to turn around and deck his own lawyer. He's probably not a threat to try to take the gun from the sheriff's deputy who's serving as the bailiff that day, because this is a guy who just voluntarily got in a car with his folks and drove himself to the jail. Like, he didn't go on a life of run, didn't have a shootout with cops, just gave himself up. That's the first detail we've gotten about that. Now, we've got a Superman reference, ladies and gentlemen. A Superman reference, not in respect to his neck, I don't think. No, it's not. On this one, the question is whether or not he will be able to wear his own clothing to the courtroom for these pretrial hearings, or whether he will be dressed in prison garb, whether he'll be in a striped suit, so to speak. This, again, is his lawyer talking. The idea that because Mr. Robinson maybe changed clothes before or after the charged shooting has nothing to do with whether Mr. Robinson's sitting there in a sweater and blue jeans or whatever the sheriff and Mr. Robinson's counsel agree is appropriate clothing could somehow turn into Superman, by spinning around in a circle. It's just not going to happen, and I have no problem with it, but there have been, and I don't know what the redaction is there. So, again, what are we saying here? To begin with, one of the reasons I want to read this is everybody freaked out over the pink and blue tie last night. Oh, he got a tranny tie on. No, he doesn't. He's got a tie that his lawyer gave him. Like, if you guys think for half a second that Tyler Robinson, who's in high security lockup for allegedly killing a national treasure in a political assassination, if you think he's like wandering around Dillard's shopping for the right tie for the occasion, you're out of your mind. They just handed him a tie and he put it on. That's it. He didn't judge the tie. He didn't say, I don't like that tie. Do you have a pink and baby blue tie by chance? I look best in pink and baby blue. Why would you bring me a yellow tie? That's a tie you wear to brunch, ladies and gentlemen. I would never be caught dead in a yellow tie in a courtroom. I'm a serious political defendant, criminal defendant. I would never be caught dead in such attire. Never. Give me an honorable tie, light blue and pink. No, he showed up and they said, here, put this on. He said, oh, okay. He tied a tie. That's it. That's how it works. And he just acknowledged that. Whatever the sheriff and Mr. Robinson's counsel agree is appropriate. That's how clothing is selected. That's it. The sheriff and the counsel get together and say, do you mind if he wears a tie? I don't mind if he wears a tie. Okay, then we're going to have him wear this tie. That's great. Okay, perfect. Let's go to court. And what the lawyer's saying here is, by allowing him to put on street clothes, he's not going to spin around and all of a sudden have superpowers. It's not the way it works. Though I would question this man's Superman canon, because that's not what gave Superman powers. He had the powers even if he was Clark Kent. He didn't have to put on the stupid suit. All right, last issue here. Last issue, we will get a little glimpse into what has been transferred so far. Now, keep in mind, this hearing was a month or so ago. But at that time, what was transferred and what is being transferred and what is the pace of that? And we get our first glimpse into what camera footage they have. This was a great discovery. This is probably the most fun I had in this whole transcript. This is Mr. Grunander for the state. Your Honor, I can provide an update for the court and defense counsel and the state. We met before this hearing and talked about this. First of all, our offices are working together, meaning the defense lawyer and the prosecution lawyers, they're working together, right? Our paralegals are in constant communication about sending and receiving discovery. We have to date as of this afternoon, received in the range of about 4,000 files from law enforcement. Now, keep in mind, this is a prosecutor for the state of Utah. The prosecutors are not the ones out there getting the tapes from the state of Utah. They're not the one getting the documents. It's the sheriff, it's the investigators, it's people that carry badges and guns. And so what he's saying is we, the lawyers, have already gotten about 4,000 files. The 1,700 or so of those files we've received in the last day or so, the last 12 hours. And so there's a process they go through. They mark, they make necessary redactions, the ones that are required by law, not just like Pam Bondi going through and striping out everything in the thing. I mean, these are redactions of social security numbers, of telephone numbers, of addresses. They're not redacting the faces of all the perverts in the Epstein file. This is a different case. There's a process our office is going through, making necessary redactions per the law, and we're moving that to defense as quickly as possible. They have provided about 1,400 files, about 35% of what they have in hand. Every week, at least once a week, they provide a batch of information to the defense. So I'm going to pause it right there. The discovery process, obviously, is well underway by now. We have had this question on this program, and I've heard it raised other places. What are they doing? What is taking so long? Well, apparently there's a lot of information, and it takes a long time to go through. It takes a long time to bait stamp and to mark and to redact and to make sure it's legal to pass on, and then they have to pass it on, and then Tyler Robinson's lawyers have to get it, and they have to stamp it, and they have to look at it. They have to make sure they understand it. These things take time. The wheels of justice grind at a slow pace. There have been a couple of hiccups about the size of the files. I think we're getting to the bottom of that. We'll continue to work through that when issues arise. We're also identifying the dates when the information is received. Here, this is the part right here. This is the one. This case involves a lot of surveillance camera from UVU. Listen to this next sentence. Listen to this next sentence. We're starting with September 10th being the most probative, the most important day. That's the day of the alleged shooting. That's the day of the Big Bang. And then working backward from that. Meaning, I will translate this for you, ladies and gentlemen. Meaning, they are giving them surveillance footage from the week prior. This is answering a question we've all had, which is, surely whoever planned this had to go on campus before and make sure they had a clean shot, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we may find out when the alleged shooter knew where the tent would be, because I've heard some good discussion that was not known to the public, the general public, until very short, maybe the day of or the day before. And so what this release is showing is no. They're going backwards in time from September 10th. Somebody was on campus before that date. Was it Tyler Robinson? Was it the furry roommate? Apparently, they've got footage. So we're trying to prioritize our efforts as well. I think we're making progress there. And I think we're going to iron out a few kinks. Progress will be expedited. So that I thought was a very interesting observation. Yes, they have surveillance footage from UVU. Yes, the surveillance footage is before September 10th. I thought that was phenomenal. I thought that was very intriguing, very interesting. I got one more note, but I didn't write what it was about. So let me see if I can pick up on that quickly, because I may not want to. I may have thought it was interesting, and then oh yeah, no. This is a rehash of the disqualification for the school. All right, so be that as it may, take all that. I thought that was interesting. Now I have one more thing I want to get to, and it's the end of the year, so we're going to go a little longer tonight than normal. Normally I try to keep the pre-super discussion to 60 to 90 minutes. I am going to go a little long tonight because I thought there was a great presentation last night by TriggerSmart on the frangible round theory. I think we can put that to bed. And I want to switch gears real quickly. Head over to that. I'm gonna try to cover this quickly. This is a clip from TriggerSmart, who I've come to really like. I feel like I know the guy. I've watched so many of his videos here lately. He had a great idea. Let me pull this down for a second. After the frangible round theory came out, he thought, all right, let's test it. So he tried to find a 30-06 frangible round. And a frangible round, for those of you that don't know, we were initially told Charlie Kirk was shot with a 30-06, and everybody instantly assumed, oh, a 30-06, that means a full metal jacket 30-06 round. Well, not exactly. Not exactly. Because 1,000 people have taken to YouTube trying to get a 30-06 full metal jacket or hollow point round or soft point round. They've tried to get them to stop inside of something, anything. A piece of meat, a steak, a roast, a steel beam, a concrete block, a giant rock. They can't get the dadgum bullet to stop in front of anything. It just flies through everything. A very, very powerful round. And so TPUSA, being a den of thieves, discards the 30-06 theory and says, instead, no. I know we originally told you guys through Andrew Colvett that Charlie Kirk had a neck of steel and that the bullet was found just below the T1 and his neck saved lives and it was a miracle directly from heaven. But Andrew's a liar. That's what TPUSA said, not me. I wouldn't say that about Andrew. I've been trying to work on Andrew, get him come back over this side. Let's go to confession, Andrew. Let's get it all out of your system. Come on, Andrew. Need you over here on the light side. Need you up there in heaven when we go. Okay? Can't have you burning in a lake of sulfur and fire. That lion's going to get you there, though. Revelation 21:8, friend. You don't want to be there. So they've changed the story. They said, no, Andrew's a liar. He did not talk to the doctor. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The doctor never said anything about a miracle. The doctor never said anything about a 30-06 round stopping. Instead, perhaps it was a frangible round. Let me let you in. I don't think the doctor said that either. I think they're lying about that too. I think they lied about the first statement. I think they're lying about the second statement. Why do I think that? Watch this video. So Trigger goes and he tries to find a 30-06 frangible round. Interesting thing is he can't find one. He can't find one anywhere. There's not a frangible round to be found anywhere. Not a 30-06 round. He is able to track down a frangible 5.56 round. So he gets a 5.56 round, which is a smaller weighted round, maybe even a little hotter round, but a smaller weighted round. But here's the key. A frangible 5.56 round breaks up much more easily than a frangible 30-06 round. Now, I'm taking his word for that because he's a firearms expert and I'm just a schlub. That's it. Like I have firearms, I shoot firearms, I feel proficient, but I am not somebody who's going to tell you the differences of rounds and which ones break up easier than others. I trust a guy like TriggerSmart to tell me that. His name has the word trigger in it. All right. Mine does not. I'm Barrett. He's Trigger. That's totally different. So what we have here is he has fired a round into this piece of meat, and I'll let you see what this piece of meat does to this round.
All right. Now we're looking at frangible, and you can see similarly, very, very small entry.
So that's the entry wound. You can almost not even see it. Now you remember what Charlie Kirk's neck looked like, right? It didn't look like that. It looked like a silver dollar had gone through sideways. But that's the frangible round. Now watch, I've got two different frangible round clips I want to play from this. But this is frangible round clip A.
Wound. Now remember, these are like 22 size bullets. It gives 5.56, 223, but very small on the inside. Let's see how the back looks. All right, now on the back of this, you can see it's still blown out, and there is some concrete from the cinder block in it.
Oh, sorry, I left the mic on. Sorry about that. So he shot the frangible round through this. It looks like a ham or something, right? A very thick piece of meat. It went through and through, and it blew out a giant hole on the backside. He had it propped up in front of a concrete cinder block, and it blew through that as well. I'll show you that. Here's what it looked like. It also damaged the concrete cinder block. Now, you can see the little pieces of frangible round down here that got stopped. Now, does that look like Charlie's neck? Is that your experience of Charlie's neck? Keep in mind, he said, the expert said, the frangible round of a 5.56 is more likely to break up. It's going to do less damage to the ham or the human neck than a 30-06 frangible round would do. That would be even more powerful on arrival. It's 3 times as large, and it's arriving at roughly the same speed. So is that what Charlie's neck looked like? No, there's not even an allegation that that's what Charlie's neck looked like. Now, let's roll forward just a little more here and find out what a frangible round looks like when you shoot a steak with a bone. I'm trying to keep the firearm part out of it, but let's watch the steak with the bone here. So this is the steak with the bone, and let's see what Trigger has to say about this.
Looked like a pretty good shot. All right. Make sure. All right. So here's what we have. Pretty sizable entry hole. Some pretty good damage. Nice wound cavity. Come on the other side. And that was a pretty direct hit, right? That went straight through that bone. Blew out the side and went straight through the bone. And it wasn't an edge shot, right? So the hole is actually closer to the middle. And you can see.
So again, this is a frangible round, a smaller, less powerful frangible round than allegedly was used on Charlie Kirk. It left a giant exit wound through the rib bone. It left a gigantic wound through the bone and then smashed through the concrete behind it. Look what it did to the concrete. Does that look like Charlie Kirk's neck? No, absolutely not. 100% not. That is absolutely not at all what happened. I encourage you to go over to TriggerSmart and watch the whole video. It's a cool video. I'm going to let you see his summary here, his conclusion, because he does a good job summing it all up.
We shot just about everything you could think of, hard and soft. Obviously, we have to look at the slow-mo, but I mean, frangible ammo, 5.56, 223, has less power, less foot-pounds of force hitting. It can be a fast round, and it is smaller, but in this case, it went straight through the bone, everything else. So I would say, even with the frangible 30-06, that has significantly more power at the 140 yards. I would say frangible is not going to make a difference. It's still going to blow his neck out. As always, guys, like, subscribe, and share this around, and I'll see you on the next one. Hello, and welcome back to TriggerSmart.
Yeah, I encourage you guys to go watch that. It was a great presentation. He's got actually 2 versions of it. The long version he did on his live, and then the clipped out version that just has the devastating shots. He shot pineapples, cantaloupes, jugs of water, concrete. He shot all kinds of stuff with both full metal jacket rounds and frangible rounds. I'm telling you right now, that didn't happen either. The frangible round didn't happen either. Guys, look at your humble host. Charlie Kirk wasn't shot. There was no bullet. There's no bullet. No bullet stops in Charlie Kirk's neck. No bullet fired from the Losi Center stops in Charlie Kirk's neck. None. And if there was no bullet fired from the Losi Center, now we've got a Tyler Robinson problem. Because we have a guy on trial for the death penalty who could not have taken the shot. Period. End of story. I'm just telling you right now, there was no gunshot. Now, why is Andrew Colvette telling you the surgeon said there was a gunshot? Oh, we should all be asking ourselves that question because he's a liar. That's why. Because he lies. Because Andrew Colvette's a liar. And the fact that he's still employed at TPUSA means the CEO at TPUSA is aware he's a liar and fine with it. The CEO of TPUSA must be aware that Andrew Colvette lies on the record, passes off words in the doctor's language that were not the doctor's, puts quote marks around them, and pawns them off, hoping you guys will buy this Fed slop garbage narrative. And what does that say about what actually happened to Charlie Kirk and who would have been involved? Now do you see why Fort Huachuca matters? Now do you see why where Brian Harpole was the day before matters? Of course, that's exactly why it matters. That's 100% why it matters. Because it was not the gay kid on the roof with a 30-06. It just was not, ladies and gentlemen. It was not. And the fact they didn't lead with the frangible round means the doctor didn't say there was a frangible round, or you would have heard that from the beginning. Because I guarantee you something did not happen. The doctor did not call Andrew Colvett 2 months later and say, you know, I saw where you attributed a statement to me. I'd like you to issue a correction. No. Had he done that, Andrew Colvett would have come out and said, oh, I need to issue a correction. I totally misunderstood everything he said, and I apologize. My deepest and sincerest apologies to the doctor. No, I don't think the doctor said any of that. And I think the evidence is right there. And I think the evidence is right in what I just showed you from TriggerSmart. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are. That's where we are. All right, let me, I'm going to skip Beardgate. I'll let somebody else cover that. That is, oh gosh, what's his name? Cabot Phillips. That's Cabot's beard. I'll let somebody else cover that. Candace did a great job on her Instagram. It's on the Instagram stories right now. So you can go look at that if you want to see Beardgate. But let me get through some of these super chats. Somebody gave me a super chat and then it timed out before the show started because they put it up hours ago and I can't remember what it said. I was going to address it. It was the very first one. It was put up hours before I started. I usually open the chat, for those that don't know, 4 or 5, 6 hours before. We have a ball in there. I interacting with people. They're interacting with each other. It's a lot of fun in the chat, 5 hours before the show kicks off. All right, let me get these going. Spending my holiday defending your character on X against the cabal. My character? As if you are my brother. I am your brother. Your brother in Christ, Carrie. Worth every second. You are my brother in Christ. There you go. Stay safe. Prayers to you and your family. We will be your David. I need lots of Davids. Apparently. I didn't know I did. Thank you for doing that, by the way. Baron First Super Read 2 emailed. You few, super important. Need talk, maybe very important. Please look for email under Sherry Quiet Go Max. Christ is King. I will, Sherry, look, I will say this. I'm several days behind on emails. I've been very busy at work, and I'm several days behind on emails. So I will get in there and get caught up. I can assure you I've got several days off here in a row coming up for New Year's Eve. The next show will be Friday for those that don't like to keep an eye out. I will do a show Friday night. I'm not sure what time. It might be 2 p.m. It might be 5 p.m. It might be, 10 o'clock at night. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. It won't be 10 o'clock at night. Alex Jones switched his narrative on Candace in exchange for a better court ruling in the InfoWars lawsuit, in my opinion. What say you? He certainly switched it. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I can't say that a judge would rule favorably based on that, but, thank you. Even if it turns out the super chat people were at FH, they would never admit it or disclose the info of the meeting. Of the suspected people, not the super chat people. We're at Fort Huachuca. Yeah, I don't think I think they'll go to the grave with that. Because that's, if Brian Harpole admits now he was at Fort Huachuca, he's done. If Erica Kirk admits it now, she is toast. Toast. Same with Cabot Phillips, frankly. They all have to just lock arms and we're going Thelma and Louise. We're going over the cliff. I waited all day long for 7 p.m. to arrive. The plot thickens every episode. Thank you, Snowy. We're doing what we can. Countdown to RBP Live is like New Year's Eve ball drop. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, just said Julie. Very kind of you. Still hoping you will read my email. Let me know you got it. Hey, listen, I don't respond to very many emails. I respond to like 1 out of 100, but I open them and I read most of them. If it's long, I might or might not read it, but being censored about how I could design the mic to stick to his chest is relevant. Happens on X now. TriggerSmart got it. I don't remember seeing that. If you've sent it like I said, if you sent it the last 4 or 5 days, I've not seen it because I've been way behind on emails. But I'll get there. I need a time machine to keep up with the chat. Yeah, it's going fast. I had it on slow mode at 20 seconds. I saw you guys complaining about the whole show. Maybe I'll do 30 seconds next time. I don't want to, if somebody has, like a 2 a thought that takes two chats to get out. I don't want to punish them, but at the same time, I understand it moves pretty quick. I mean, it drives. It looks like the Price is Right wheel. I get that. I'll do my best. It's if electrified, necklace behavior is explained by the Lenz law, and ring levitations is from eddy current levitation. I'll take your word for it. I've had several electrical engineers, electrical contractors reach out to me and give me their explanation of what they think might have happened with the electricity. I'm still very much intrigued by that theory. I'm not married to any particular theory, by the way. I am open to all theories. I do not believe there is a chance in hell a 30-06 was shot from the Losi Center. I will tell you that. I don't believe that happened. If so, it did not hit him. This is my first live, and I have to say, you're the bomb. I always look forward to your podcast. Well, I always look forward to your comments, Bradio. You're welcome anytime. Turn on the notifications. Like this video first. That's the best thing you can do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on the notifications, and you'll always know when I go live. You'll always know. The format of Candace's X discussion could be a very useful tool for other journalists like yourself. If you brought Valhalla in, it might help cool tensions between his followers and yours. Not hard not to trash him here. No one should trash Valhalla. Nate's a good guy. Nate has strong opinions on Mitch Snow, but people disagree about particular things. Let him go. Let him go. Who cares? Look, if you agree with someone 80 or 90% of the time, let the 10 or 20% go. If he gets onto a topic you don't like, turn the channel, come back the next night. That's it. That's it. No, you guys should not be getting angry with the followers of any other show. And don't take their bait if they come over here. Thank you for all you do. Love my dogs and cats. Thank you. Happy New Year to you as well. Let's see. You may have covered this before. If so, my apologies. Did Dan Flood always stand on top of something like he did the day Charlie Kirk was killed? You're amazing. Oh, and War Eagle. War Eagle to you, E. Martin. Yeah. I have seen footage of him standing on the ground, and I've seen footage of him in past episodes standing on some sort of platform. So I wouldn't say it's highly unusual for him to do either. But I don't know that it was 50-50 either. I think he was on the ground more than he wasn't. But it might have to do with the height, his ability to see. I don't know. Might have to do with he didn't want to get electrocuted. I don't know. I really don't know. Hey, Baron, love your podcast. You work. I stay up for you to go live 12 to 1 a.m. Keep up the good work, and hope you have a lovely New Year. I hope you have a lovely New Year, Easy May Stevens over there across the pond. I did go an hour early tonight. I was an hour early. I went at 6 local instead of 7 local. So that ought to help you. That ought to help you. I look forward to your live shows way more than I probably should. No, Charlie. No, I am Charlie. You are not looking forward to them enough. And the fact you just gave you $10 to confess this is even worse. Hey, it's not. It's to go money well spent. Money well spent. It's allowed me, again, to upgrade several things. I've upgraded computer processing power here. I've upgraded sound equipment in 2 different capacities. I've added 2 additional monitors so I can keep track of all your craziness while it's going. So I'm investing back into the program so that you guys get the benefit of what you're offering here. And I probably will have an update about the future of the program here in the next couple of days. Probably when I go live next time, I will give you more of an update about some more regular show times due to some changes in my life. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. I haven't had alcohol since July. Thank you, Shannon Renee. You are doing, you're a better person. I don't want to say people who drink alcohol are bad people. That's not what I'm saying. But most people who quit find that their lives improve dramatically. You're more entertaining than any white girl, White Claw night. So I'm giving back your time and effort. Cheers. Thank you, Sharon Renee. Very generous donation. I try to be entertaining and informative. And yeah, White Claw is, I threw back a few claws in my day, in my drinking days. I didn't hate it when those became a thing. But yeah, celebrating 3 years and 3 days. 3 years and 3 days sober. A year, 6 months, 5 months. Keep it up. Keep it up. Using VPN, I searched my name on Google Trends and got one result. Showed from Israel. Most VPNs are owned by Israeli tech firms. Maybe the weird trends data is just USA using VPN. Could be. I've never suggested the VPN was not a possible. I've raised that many times. Go back and watch my early shows. You'll see I raised the VPN possibility as often as I could as a possible outcome. But I think your VPN sets, like if I have a VPN set for Nashville versus Los Angeles, then my search should generate in Nashville versus Los Angeles. If I set it to Israel, maybe it'll search through Israel. But the server has to be local here, or it's not going to show that it's coming from here. So I'm not sure I buy that necessarily. I'm not sure I buy that entirely. Baron is on. Everyone in my house knows when Baron is on. They leave me alone. Oh, Whitney. My family leaves me alone as well. I didn't even lock the door tonight. They haven't come in. So how am I spending the evening on my 38th birthday? That's right, going max with the one and only Baron. Whitney, happy birthday to you. Another trip around the sun. Like you, I have a December birthday, and they're not ideal when it comes to getting a day dedicated to you, because you kind of have to share it with the holiday season. No one's around. Everybody's on vacation. Everybody's seeing grandma, all that. Happy birthday to you, Whitney, and thank you for the generous donation. I should have given you $20 for your birthday. Love how you're growing with words and common sense. See your comments, and it's refreshing to read them. Keep going. You have a fan. Well, thank you, Bailey. Thank you for the kind words. Very, very kind words. How weird is the new alibi from Erica? The name is blocked because she doesn't want CO to see the nickname, and 2 days later hasn't sent the recording showing the number. Anyone thinks she texts Cabot? I don't know about texting Cabot. What she's referencing, what Moon Mama here is referencing is, and I encourage you to, if you go watch, and I listened live to the entire space Candace had on. I had it pulled up on one of my screens here. My wife sat right there, and we sat there and listened to the whole thing. It was fantastic. People kept texting me saying, you need to comment. I'm like, why? I'm enjoying listening. I'm having a good time. I don't have to insert myself into every conversation, but yeah. So Candace said, that Erica allegedly, maybe through Andrew Colvett, had tried to offer an alibi. Hey, here's where I said I was meeting Charlie or cooking for Charlie or waiting on Charlie or something. I can't remember. But they blacked out the name at the top. Now, Erica, I don't want to give you too many clues, but you didn't have to do that. Like, there's ways you could get around that. And so Candace looks at it and said, well, I can't take an alibi where you blacked out the name. And so they didn't respond. Like, they've not yet updated it as of right now. Now, maybe. CMW. So that's Charles McClintock Wilson. Aftermath at UVU. Second photo is Dan Flood laughing, carrying Charlie after taking a picture through his glasses. I've looked at those photos so many times. I don't believe he's laughing. Now, sometimes when you're carrying something heavy, you're gritting, and Charlie was not a small man. A-Box. Thank you, Marina. Do you think the red dots on Charlie's arms could have been a way of discharging electricity from his body, and the reason he wasn't laid directly on the ground? Wishing you and your family a happy new year. I've asked myself those questions about those two red dots. Also, in that same photo gallery that Billy Barbarian was just referencing, the Charles McClintock Wilson aftermath, there are two red dots on Charlie's right arm. I don't know what they are. They look like taser marks to me, or they look like little injection sites, but I don't know. Could be electricity escaping. I don't know. I am not an electrical expert. I'm not an expert. Let's see here. Harpole felt it necessary to articulate the chain of custody for Charlie Kirk's mic on the SRS podcast. He also mentions shape charges. Maybe edit comes soon. I noticed that about the chain of custody, and nothing could have happened because it was behind this little zone. What a silly thing to invest time explaining. What a silly thing to invest time explaining. I noted the second he was saying all that, I was like, why are you talking about his microphone so much and where it was? And made him look guilty. That's my plain talk right there. This morning, your picture. This morning, I watched Tucker Carlson and Jack Posobiec talk about Trump shooter in PA, aired a year ago. It's eerily similar to Charlie Kirk's situation. I urge people to watch it and pay attention to Jack. Gosh, pay attention to Jack. What an insufferable task that is. I don't know if I could get through a Jack show. I didn't watch that one. I got a funny Jack story. Should I tell this story? No, it's from 2020. It's from November of 2020. I'm not going to tell it. It's rude. There's no reason to be rude. FYI, I was Charlie Kirk long before Charlie came along. I know you've been hesitant to comment on Erica, but given the recent PR missteps, what's your take now? She's clearly received horrible advice in September. I think I've been pretty clear by now. The tide has turned on Erica. My Twitter feed is nothing but people making fun of Erica. Now, that could be because I click on them and laugh and heart them. That very well could be like me, the algorithm feeding me what I interact with. But every one of those are her like bending over and fireworks shooting out of her butt. Like, subscribe, feed me more, Algo, feed me. Sorry. It's been known to happen. It's been known to happen. Sorry, guys. Hey, look, you set a trap with Erica Kirk celebrating with fireworks coming out of her butt. I'm going to click it every time. I'm like a rat and cheese. I cannot stay away from it. Yeah, the tide has turned on Erica. The tide has turned. No doubt about it. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse unless she goes away. William Wallace time yet? No. Not yet. We need to look into who booked Charlie on the trip to South Korea. Who was the one that invited him? Has that been made public? I'm not sure if that's been made public yet. I don't know. If it has, I've not come across it. This is bigger than Charlie. The people at the plant were just regular small town folks who were probably planning to provide Christmas for the kids. Surely at least one person at TPSU has a conscience. Okay, so this is talking about the plant in Tennessee that exploded, and this is obviously making the conclusion, Diane, that that plant had something to do with Charlie Kirk's death, and the explosion was to cover it up. That's inference on inference. Just so we're clear, we're not alleging that happened on this program, but we're suggesting it's not out of the realm of possibility and probably should be investigated. That's kind of my take. It's something that ought to be considered. That's my solid take on it. As to your last point, that surely somebody there has a conscience, I do believe they do. I think they're probably good people at TPUSA. They're more than welcome to contact me. You guys can get my cell phone number. You guys, I mean, if you're at TPUSA, you know people I know. Reach out to them. Get in touch with me. Or you can contact me through my email, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com, and get in touch with me that way. Please, nobody related to the show, email my baroncoleman.com. Please don't. I don't want to take to blocking people, but I'm going to have to at some point. That is a work email. I use that for professional reasons, and I can't have people clogging it up. Excellent opening statement. You're really a great writer, and it inspires me. Well, thank you. I didn't just show that to promote myself. It makes me feel good to hear you say that, because those openings take a long time. I mean, that was 2,700 words. That was several hours of writing went into crafting that. So thank you very much. That is by far the most time-consuming part of each program, is writing that opening statement. So, but you guys are worth it. You deserve it. I don't want to come here and give you less than my best. In fact, I've told you many times, if I don't have a show prepared, I'm not going to go live. I'm not just going to come up here and wing it. I had half a show prepared yesterday, and I didn't go live because it wasn't worthy of your time. I'm not going to turn the camera on. I'm not going to fire up the microphone. I'm not going to pull up YouTube and start streaming live just to go out there and mow the grass. I'm only doing it if I have something I believe is worthy of the 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours, whatever it is you give me every night. So that's just an example. I didn't go live last night because the show was not worthy of your time. I had to fill it out. I had to complete it. This is for an Ian Barron Candace collaboration. I just wanted to say I genuinely appreciate your integrity, humility, hard work, talent, skill. You're making bigger waves than you realize. Well, thank you. That's very kind. I should tell this story here. This is a good place to tell this. A guy I work with was at Christmas at his mom's or aunt's house or something. And he's sitting around and they're bearing this, bearing that. And he's like, who are you talking about? And they're like, oh, this guy's Barron here. He's about to come on here. Well, it's me. He was like, you are kidding me. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to scare you at your in-laws' house. It won't happen again. Love your show. some of these other podcasters are doing the tit for tat. Please be bigger than that. Do the right thing. Be godly. Speak your truth and keep God's too. Also, I have 20 years now. 20 years of sobriety. Work hard, play harder. You must have played really hard back in the day. 20 years. Congratulations first on that. That's incredibly important. I don't try to do the tit for tat. Like Gary from Paramount trashed me on his show many, many times. I come across shorts where Gary's going after me. Like, who does shorts? But I come across shorts. I tried shorts a few times. What I realized is they're absolute channel killers. If you're doing shorts and you're in the podcasting business, stop. That's free advice, Gary. Gary from Paramount, that's free advice. The short business is killing your channel. And it's very easy reason why. People who watch shorts don't watch 3-hour podcasts. And so you're getting subscriptions from people who aren't going to watch your 3-hour podcast. That means when your 3-hour podcast rolls up through their subscription, they don't click on it. Your click rate goes down, your reach goes down. Stop doing the shorts. That's free advice, Gary. You trash me, I tell you how to maximize your channel. That's the kind of man I am. No one else is going to pat it. 100% we would have never heard anything pre-internet days. That is correct. That is a fact. That was the point of the opening, and you got it. Thank you. I'm Gen X. They fed us all kinds of lies back in the day, and we had no choice but to believe them. Thanks for all you do, Baron. You're welcome. You're welcome. I am a former USMC ordnance expert. Would like to speak with you relating to the Charlie Kirk, Tennessee explosion. Please respond to my recent emails to you. Like I said, if they're recent, I've not seen them. I'm about 5 days behind. I will get to them. I will have an eye out. Hallelujah, Haven, and I will. I'll try to find it. I'm definitely trying to find those. Outstanding opening statement, and thank you for all you do. Thank you for the generous donation and the kind words, Lisa Ann. Thank you. Baron is a legend in court circuits, best known for most opening statement mic drops in history of the judicial system. You should end your opening statements with a mic drop moving forward. I have backup mics, but I don't want to drop them. Even the cheap, I have that Shure SM58 that old boy had. I don't want to drop it. It's $100. So maybe I'll get a cheap. Oh, I'll get one of those mics that my kids have where they talk into it and it just sounds like this. I'll get one of those and drop that. Those are great. If you have kids, get a lot of noisy stuff. That's really great. My take on Huachuca, Mitch Snow, he was right place, right time, ×2. Either he's nuts and making this up, he's a plant to throw Candace haywire mode, or God placed him there. Well, if he's a plant, the other side screwed up, because what they should have done is allow Candace to go forward with it and then nuke her out of orbit and be like, what are you talking about? Here's a picture of me, like a video of me holding the day's New York Times, reading it while my kids are running around saying, oh, mommy, look, it's September 8th. Look at September 8th. As I'm flipping through Fox News on September 8th. Like, if that was a setup, they screwed it up because nobody's come forward with a decent alibi. So I'm beginning to doubt that part of it. Very much beginning to doubt that. Didn't Candace start the Frangible round story? I think she said that they changed their mind to the Frangible round, but I don't think she started it. I think TPUSA started it. Who killed Charlie? Well, that's the question of the day, isn't it? Everything points to someone. Someone needs to be protected. Who? Who are they protecting? I don't think they're protecting anyone in particular. I think they just want to take control of the organization. They had to kill him. It might be as simple as that. He had a very influential organization. They didn't like him. Got to go. I think it's that easy. I advise people to 1, network and follow independent journalists. 2, partisan hostilities, mostly manufactured. 3, research transnational private sector. I was pointing when I agreed. I don't know what that means. Loyal only to their interests. You heard it from him first. TX is key. Texas is key. Alex is targeting Candace after Nardello and Company, the same firm in 25, hired by the Macrones, helped unravel hidden assets in Texas, led Sandy Hook cases with his bankruptcy, enforcing the sale of InfoWars. Okay. I'm interested in this, actually, because I've been trying to track down a Texas connection. Let me make a note here. I've been trying to track down a Texas connection that I don't know what it's for, but I know it exists. And I'm curious if that has anything to do with it. Where is that Nardello and Company? Where's it located? No, that says New York. All right, let me dig into that. Let me take a picture because this is how I follow up on stuff. Let me take a picture of that. I'm interested in that Texas connection because I've noticed one. I've noticed a lot of activity in two particular towns in Texas, and I cannot make heads or tails of it. I cannot make heads or tails of it. As a mom of 8, I appreciate you didn't expect to speak last night and didn't whine about not getting a chance to speak when it was obviously about Fort Huachuca, not theories. I have enough whining at home. I never whine, man. Never. I never whine. I might have whined a little bit about Joe. Joe might have irritated me just enough to get a little whine, but I'm not a whiner. I'm not a whiner. That's not what I do. I'm not a whiner. You're not going to catch me whining. Okay, maybe I whine a little bit sometimes. But no, look, if I had something to add to this Twitter space last night or the X space, I would have commented, but I was listening. I was learning with the rest of you. Great monologue. Jimmy Dore says that Erica Kirk's uncle started the Jewish Studies program at Utah Valley State College. Coincidence. I saw that on Jimmy Dore. I like Jimmy Dore. I saw that, and it's an interesting fact. I don't know if it has to do with why he's dead. But yeah. Thank you for the very generous donation, by the way. $50 is huge. Thank you. Let's never forget the most locked down city in the world of 2021. Melbourne, Australia. Politicians turned it into a police state where the police were assaulting citizens for sitting on park bench and were allowed to do it. Hey, maybe you can't move from Melbourne because you don't have anywhere to go. But y'all's continent sucks. Australia used to be one of those places where you would want to, like, Americans be like, well, if I ever have to get out of here, at least I go to Australia. Not anymore. Woo! I wouldn't even visit Australia. Y'all stopped the number one tennis player in the world from showing up in Australia because you didn't like his politics. That's crazy. Crazy. Welcome to Electric Boogaloo. What does that mean? It sounds scary. Who gets away with the crimes that Mitch is accused of? Feds. Who has weird stories about name changes in cartels? Feds. Who sees their colleagues conspire? Feds. Okay, let's take your theory, Mr. Boogaloo, if that is your real name. He's a Fed. A Fed of what? What is he fedding? Who is he trying to get in trouble? Candace? Candace has these people on the ropes, baby. Like Erica, Brian Harpole, Cabot Phillips, they are running for the hills. Cabot Phillips has Liz Wheeler out there wheeling and dealing, looking up old September 8th Daily Wire episodes. Oh, he has a mustache here? Does he have a beard here? Oh, I mean, if he's a Fed, he's a fail. He's a bad Fed. The Feds have really gotten off their game. Agree or not, this is legit JFK 2.0, and we got front row seats, and every day you and the rest of us are getting closer and closer to finding and exposing the actual truth. There might be hope after all. There is hope. Don't ever lose hope. Don't ever give up hope. We do have hope. We do have hope. Oh, this is a good point here. How quickly InfoWars forgot about their own who was murdered in all the swatting. It was a story when it was them. Yeah, it was a story, but it also seems to have changed the nature of their reporting. Happy New Year. 9/11, COVID, now Charlie's murder have all deeply impacted me and shaped my life. Thank you for being a courageous voice in the Charlie Kirk Truth Movement. Your work means so much. Thank you, Jillian. Generous donation. You're always a good commenter. And thank you. Thank you. Here we go. What color of beanie and little horse should I get for Harrison? Yeah, the man bear, go back. The midget horse memes are amazing. Like, what Candace has done with the midget horse throwaway line she gave as an insult to Ben Shapiro, blank you and the midget horse you came in on. And now all of a sudden, I'm getting like 9 images a day of a shirtless Alex Jones riding a 1 foot tall horse. I mean, why else did God grace us with the internet? Honestly, what was it? Was it so that we could convene and commune and learn more about life and the meaning of life? Was it so we could be educated and more connected as a society? Or was it so I could see 9 images a day of a shirtless Alex Jones riding around on a midget horse? And let me tell you the answer to that. It's the latter. That's what it's all about, baby. That's what it's all about. Baron, FYI from your last show, Glenn Beck lives in Weston, Idaho. Ooh, that's interesting. Let me look up where that is. Weston, Idaho. Check flights coming into Preston, Idaho, or Logan, Cache County, Utah. Higher rated, 20 minutes away. We love you. Your show, an extraordinary family sacrifice. Well, thank you. Go Max to you, young lady or man, UT Chiefs lover. All right, I see where that is. That's the very, very southeast corner. Just looks to be a mile or 2 north of Utah. So that's not where the plane I was looking at was going. That was going to Haley, Idaho, quite a bit north of there. Let's see here. Thank you. When you minimize your screen and show a video and your head is properly aligned with the circular plate above your lamp, you look like you have a man bun. I cannot see. Do I really? Let's try it again. Hang on. I got a screen pull. I got TriggerSmart still pulled up here. I got a man bun. I'm Ian from like 2 years ago. Ian used to have a man bun. So that is an Aztec calendar right there. That is a genuine product of Mexico. I got that. Well, my family got that when I was just a wee little lad. I think it was like in 7th grade. And I had a hole there. I had these pictures put up. I had some, the wall of me over there, and I had this hole. My mom was moving. I said, Mom, what you going to do with this? She said, do you want it? I said, yeah. Yeah, I absolutely want it. I got the perfect place for it. I had no idea how annoying it was going to be looking like a halo over my head all the time. But I'm too lazy to move it. Like once something goes on the wall, it's on the wall. Have I shown you that wall? I don't know if I've shown you that wall or not. I don't know if there's like too much personal stuff on that wall. But there's a lot over there. And once something goes on the wall, it's on the wall, baby. Thank you for the very generous donation. Sorry about the accidental man bunning I've been giving you guys. Won't happen again. Wow, $100. Thank you, the one you feed. The one you feed. Or is it Theo Neuefed? Could be either. Harrison has gone Meltonian now. What does that mean? Oh, like Gary Melton. Jamie White of InfoWars was killed in his parking lot last spring. Could fearing for their lives explain his and Alex Jones' reaction? Also, he didn't initiate famous post about Charlie Kirk. He just answered yes. So he would have kept it secret. Oh, I see what you're saying there. Just like Trump's been a different person since getting nicked in the ear in Butler, Pennsylvania, sometimes staring death in the face changes a man. Thank you. Thank you, the one you feed, for that very, very generous donation. You guys are amazing, particularly this time of year. But yeah, you are a must watch as far as I'm concerned. David, you're a must read. You're a must read. Like Edge. Edge is a great commenter. Baron, as an attorney, would you instruct the involved to shut it regardless the level of guilt or innocence? Could that explain the crickets? Erica is waiting in some deep poop. I would say that you guys should always know you have a right to remain silent at all times. Use it wisely. Use it freely and wisely. Somebody asks you, if you know you were at a crime scene and someone asked if you were there, time to lawyer up, boys and girls. The walls are closing in. Like, that's not a good place to be. If you weren't at a crime scene, like you were just there doing something illegal or immoral, or I say illegal, like misdemeanor illegal, not planning a murder, just something small. Maybe a small theft case, or you were
Andrew or Cabot and Erica were heading off for an old rendezvous for old time's sake. Obviously not ideal, but maybe you try to lie your way out of that one. Not on a moral basis. I don't recommend that as a Christian man. I say that as legal advice, right? You're not going to jail for that. But if you're there trying to plan an assassination, it might not work out for you. Baron, did you ever see the video? I sent you an email where Hunter K mistakenly said Mike when he was on an interview. He said they think I was in on it, then asked about why he said Mike. He fumbled his words. I did. Let me say the only way I'll watch videos is if you guys send me a link to a YouTube link. I will watch it on YouTube. Tell me the timestamp. Don't send me clips of videos. I'm not clicking on stuff. Like I'm not clicking on your PDFs, your images, your links. That's how people get their computers taken over. That's how you end up with like real problems. So yeah, I do remember you referencing that. I did not click on your video though. A-Bucks, why was Artyom Alexandrovich allowed to return home after being arrested in U.S. for child predation? I have answered that on this. Unless I'm having a deja vu moment, I believe I've answered that on this program. I don't know. I don't know. Why do we let anybody alleged to do that go home? The passport should immediately be collected, and they should be either in jail awaiting their trial, or they should be carefully monitored so they don't slip out of the country. Good question. We are at a huge disadvantage because the cover-uppers have destroyed fabricated evidence, including the autopsy. We don't have the power of subpoena, search warrants, etc. Baron, let's crowdfund PIs for journal purposes. $5 from each of your subs is a lot. Couple things on that. One, yes, we're at a huge disadvantage. That's natural to any citizen journalist investigation. That doesn't mean we don't get the job done. Look what's happening in Minnesota with the Somalians. That was a citizen journalist with an iPhone. He took down a $110 million operation. The feds are now involved, and the whole place is being turned upside down. So that's not necessarily an excuse for failure. It's a disadvantage, but it's not an excuse for failure. So that's number one. Number two, crowdfunding PIs. The PIs are at the same disadvantage. Like they don't have subpoena power. They can't subpoena the autopsy. They can't force a new autopsy. They're at the same disadvantage. They're just getting paid so that in theory they have more time to work on it. But we're doing plenty. We're doing plenty here. Veteran here. Not sure if the rules have changed since I got out. Is Harpole retired military? No, he was a policeman. If not, there would definitely be a record of who sponsored him to enter the base. Worth looking into. I don't think he was former military. I'm pretty sure he just went into the police, but I'll double check that. His dad was a cop. He kicked around a little while, was homeless, and then decided to go into the police. Was only there like 15 years and then left. That's always shady to me. Like, finish your career or get out earlier. Like, why would you leave so close to retirement? That's always a little weird to me, but whatever. I'm not judging. We covered that already. You're hilarious, Baron. Love watching your shows. I find myself glued until the end. Well, thank you, Yorkie Mom. I used to be a Yorkie dad. I love when you read super chats. Love and support from Northeast Alabama. Let the truth come out. I've also been to Northeast Alabama. I've been to Scottsboro. I've been to Fort Payne. Been to Jackson County. What else is up there? What are some of them other counties you got up there? Yeah. I've been up that way. That's good people up there. Northeast Alabama. Sand Mountain. That's a good part of the country. They got great tomatoes. EK and Colvette knew each other before Charlie Kirk. Yes, that's correct. There's a pic of them at a gala in Mar-a-Lago 2019, except I think she knew Charlie Kirk in 2019, right? Also, Huachuca wasn't a final rundown meeting. The plan was set a while ago. Love your show, BC. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to you as well. I agree. I think the plan was set before we realized. I think the plan, in my opinion, was set. Well, I don't want to give too much away. I'm not hiding it from you. I'm hiding some key facts from people that I don't want to say about on air that we're aware of. How about that? I would never hide from you people. Never. Never, never, never. I hate to say it, but I like the monologue at the beginning of the podcast. Why would you hate to say it? Very classy. I don't, however, believe that gay marriage is a negative. I think gay people also deserve to be happy. I never said they didn't deserve to be happy. What I was commenting on was the fact that the last 25 years, the government has taken over the will of the people. That was my point. And I'm sorry if that was lost on you, Ron. My point was that there was a time in America that if multiple states had voted against in something, that the courts would never have said, get over it. We're ramming it through anyway. But that has changed. And that's a post 9/11 change. That's a 21st century change. I mean, two very liberal states. Massachusetts is just this side of Moscow. California is on that side of Moscow. I mean, we're talking left-wing areas. They both voted against the gay marriage. The fact that the courts then had to come through and ram it down their throats, sorry for the analogy there, the imagery, but the fact that that's how they had to get it through is telling about where we are as a country. That was my point, Ron. Apologize for the lack of clarity and precision. That is a communicator's problem, not the listener's problem. Wave Tranquility, $99.99. Thank you. Very generous. We are all imperfect people. Correct. Jesus was the only perfect person, and they crucified him. As Didi said today on his podcast, I try and fall short every day. I guess that means we all have to rely on flawed humans as our witnesses. That's correct. A flawed human, Wave, is who brought you to Jesus. A flawed human is who brought you into the world. A flawed human is who taught you everything you know. So, thank you for the very generous donation, and thank you for the kind words. Bringing the Baronasm tonight. I have that effect on people, Edge. Your name is on point. Old strategy, new arena. What used to happen behind closed doors is now crowdsourced online. Dig up dirt, apply pressure, control outcomes. Now we are calling it out in real time. What used to happen behind closed doors, yes, is crowdsourced in real time. So in the old days, they would have brought Candace in and said, listen, you stop. Now what they're doing is they're having Gary and I can't even think of all the people out there, Evan and Morgan and Alex and all these hacks. They're having them all out there attacking and throwing bombs from the outside. You know who had a good piece on that was Ryan Matta. If you don't follow Ryan Matta on X, you're wasting your time. Get over there and follow him. Maybe 2 or 3 days ago, he had this piece about how some of these what seemingly organic movements are not organic at all. And there are these websites you can go to and get paid to tweet out hack messages. And that he thinks that might be one of the things that's happening with Candace is somebody's paying people through these, hey, you put these keywords in, submit your link, you get 100,000 views, I'll give you $50. And then so you can get hundreds of millions of views for, a few $1,000 or whatever. He did a great piece on it. It's like a 5-minute video. Everyone should watch it. It'll open your eyes. Please consider a Twitter Spaces. Your legal skills and analyses are needed. Thank you for the proper use of the plural analysis there. Karen, I've considered it. I've been invited on a few. I've declined up to this point to join them. But I will consider it in the future. Maybe I'll do one. Maybe I'll do one while I'm not doing a show for the next couple of days. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. What's that? That's New Year's Eve. I don't know. We'll think about it. We'll find a good day. Karen, thank you. Very kind. Very kind. Very kind words. I need to delete my browsing history. Why? Are you a pervert? Worrying about what my kids would think of me. Oh, you are a pervert. I was literally searching for images of mannequin hands the other day and how mortician normally position bodies. So you're not a pervert. You're just weird. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Speak softly and carry a big stick. My personal life motto and that of your investigative work, and dare I say, how you operate on all fronts in life, just like Christ. Never stop, brother. I'll do my best. Like I said, I'm a Romans 3:23 victim myself. I've fallen short of the glory of God. But we all have the ability to be redeemed, and God can use all of us for good if we're willing to give him a shot. So thank you for the kind words. Erica Kirk and Colvette knew each other. Yeah, we talked about that. Thank you. Rosario. Not disappointing ever. Well, thank you, Jess. I'm thinking old Mitchie took a shot and Joe's got to go. I love when you get fired up. Yeah. Over the wall, Joe. You got to go. That made me so mad. I forgot how mad I was until you just said that. It was Joe without an E. I think it was a female Joe. I don't know, but I think it was. Very generous donation. Thank you. Thank you, Radio Gaga. Are you the actual Radio Gaga from Queen? Last night I got the vibe. Candace has more. She's always been one to set traps, and I think she does have definitive proof they were there. Love the show. Interesting. In my opinion, Sam Parker has the best response to this question. He said because in an investigation, there are details and they matter, but we don't know which one matters until we solve it. Sam Parker's great. If you don't follow Base Sam Parker on Twitter, again, you're missing out. He's fantastic. Never miss your show. I woke this morning to a random YouTube channel called Topher Dubs with under 300 subs. No prior videos except for Candace Owens' X video. I get showing clips. Now they have 265,000 views and 4,000 subs. Thoughts? Did they add any commentary or did they just clip it out and post it? Because if so, Candace, if she cares, could probably get that taken down. Now, if they're sitting there stopping it and providing commentary, that's different. But you can't just steal someone's intellectual property. Like what we do. I throw up a clip like TriggerSmart. I gave you like 2 minutes of his hour-and-a-half long live. It was great. The whole thing was great. I don't want to show you his whole live. I want him to get credit for it. I want him to get the views. I want him to be incentivized. I want him to get super chats. I want him to get subscriptions. That way, he has the ability to continue to put out dynamite content. That's how this game works. You know, you can't put out content if people aren't supporting you, because then you have to work 2 jobs and you don't have time to put out great content. You find someone who's good, support them. Hey, how could something explode with enough force to kill Charlie Kirk and not be noticeably heard by the mic he was holding or the people around him? Love your show. It's a great question, but there was a loud bang. But it's a live issue. It's a great question. I don't consider myself a sound expert. I don't consider myself an exploding microphone expert or an electricity expert. I am an expert on people not getting shot in the neck with a 30-06 from the Losi Center, so I start looking at alternative means of death. That's where you and I meet, Evan. Evanry. Blue Cheer, you're back. Blue Cheer is never going to answer the question of what is that horse. Blue Cheer, male or female, I'm not sure if it's a he or she, is going to take that to the grave. Take it to the grave. Erica Kirk and McCoy were at dinner with Charlie Kirk the night before UVU, trying to convince him to use bulletproof glass and vest. New York Times interview. She knew. Then they sleep in separate rooms and no kiss goodbye weird. I have to go back and rewatch that interview. Hey, look, I have body armor. It's heavy and hot. And I've worn it in public before. And it is to public events that I thought might be weird. It is heavy and it is hot. I don't blame him for not wanting to wear it 200 days a year, or however many days he was in public. And it wouldn't have saved him anyway. I mean, he has a giant gash in his neck, unless you have a bulletproof vest that does this, which, look like one of those bomb people that show up when there's a bank, a bomb planted somewhere, and they walk around like this and they got the giant things on their hands. I'm here. Oh, I'm here too. I'm here for Spicy Baron and Minnesota accents. You betcha I made the chat some lemon bars. Lemon bars. I have cousins from Minnesota, from Brainerd, Minnesota. I know how they talk. They talk about Casper and Coca-Cola Classic. Except for low IQ Joe. Yeah, go, Joe. Actually, though, Joe can be redeemed. Joe could, but she's going to have to watch some logic classes. She's going to have to get it fixed. Mail lady. Where you been, mail lady? Hadn't seen you in a while. Some scorned women can lie too. Ain't that the truth? Nah, I'm just kidding. I would never be so misogynistic as to suggest women can be less than perfect. I don't know what he didn't do. And a lot of kids have been brainwashed against their fathers, speaking from experience. So all that means nothing pertaining to Charlie Kirk. Go Bears. Thank you for your generous donation, mail lady. Good to see you again. Hadn't seen you in a few shows. Fort Huachuca has a gate and a log of visitors and 10,000 people who live work on base. Someone there can verify. Harpole, Emmett, the plane pics. Kennelwood could verify Erica and Cabot. Candace verified Neff and other Huachuca details. We need more such leaks. How to get. If I knew, I'd have it. Like, I'd be showing you the logs. Like, if I knew there was a guy, Bill, and Bill would answer the phone and show me all the Candlewood Suites tapes, I would call Bill. I don't know Bill. Candace isn't on, and I'm glad I found you. Go Max. Well, I'm glad you found me too, Coach. I'm glad you found me too. Baron's wife is in the other room, like, oh, because I'm screaming. Was that the Joe time? What time was that? 6:55? Yeah, that's near about when Joe happened. So that was an hour and a half ago. Yeah, she's obviously not that worried because she'd have come in. And my kids were out tonight, so well, not all of them, but a host of them, a handful of them were out tonight. So she would have come in here. Bye, Joe. $5 for the impromptu Joe roast. Bye, Joe. If everyone needed our whole lives verified to give testimony, we'd all be cooked. No one would ever be convicted. It's usually a guilty snitch telling. I've been trying to make the point, JOK, and you made it for me. This is why I love you, passion and fire for the truth. I wouldn't want to be Joe. Keep being awesome. I wouldn't want to be Joe either. The problem with Joe is emblematic of and representative of a whole host of people who view the world that way. Like, somebody did something wrong. Maybe he did. Maybe he did 10 things wrong. Maybe he did 10 people wrong. That doesn't mean that every single thing the man's ever done is wrong. What if he carries a burning child out of an orphanage? And on the other hand, has like the child's golden retriever, and the puppy's on fire, and he's, putting the puppy out, and he's running down the street, and he's got the child, and he puts the child down, and and he gives mouth to mouth to the kid, doing little chest compressions on the kid. And then the kid comes back to life. Just at that time, the golden retriever rolls over, the fire's put out, cuddles up. Am I supposed to hate the guy? I'm supposed to not mention the heroicism? See, Joe, that's your problem, Joe. Get the hell out of here, Sleepy Joe. Oh, no, sorry. Baron won the internet tonight. I tried. I don't know if this is true, but it's interesting. Hudson Phillips, brother of Cabot, is the president of Flylance in a software engineering firm. He was formerly an AI strategy at Palantir Technology. I don't know if that's true. Now, this is definitely not true. Someone will name their kid Joe. There were exceptions. Congress was treated with hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, while hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin was banned for citizens. USA shipped 2 million doses to Brazil to help them fight COVID. I did not know all of that. You see, you're teaching me tonight. I wish you, Candace, John Bray, and others would do an hour-long video breaking down everything thus far. Create a 30-second ad on YouTube that invites people to watch the whole thing. Millions more need to see this stuff. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Don't lose that passion. If that's something you want to watch, stand by. The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. F. Scott Fitzgerald, a former Montgomeryan from Montgomery, Alabama, or former resident of Montgomery, Alabama. He and Zelda had a mansion there in the Cloverdale area. Let's see here. Yes. Here we go. How would Mitch know there was a Captain Neff at Fort Huachuca? That's all Candace needed. That is a good question. It is, again, more proof that Mitch was there. We've proven beyond a fact Mitch was there. Gary from Paramount, by the way, did that Pulitzer Prize winning reporting. He's the one who brought on Mitch's son to confirm Mitch was there. Gary did more to support Candace Owens than probably anybody else in America. Their response is more indicting than the accusation. There's definitely a there. I can't wait for Candace to put the nail in the coffin. We'll see where it originated, and I will gladly follow wherever that coffin leads. Go Baron. There's no connection between how someone behaved in their relationships and what they saw. Zero critical thinking. Joe has plenty of skeletons in her closet. Well, I can't speak for Joe. Joe opened up a whole can of worms. Joe, it did not end well for you. Do you have an Amazon wish list for your show? Thanks for insights and analysis. I don't. I have a personal wish list. I have a whole bunch of stuff I need to get. I need better lighting. I need one more piece of sound equipment that's very expensive that I'm not wanting to pull the trigger on. I do need, I got several things on a list in my office. I have prices out beside it, Amazon links to it. One piece is not available on Amazon, but so yeah. I'm trying. Put Payne Revere, $50. Thank you. I've been in loads of big corporate litigation, including criminal matters. What amazes me is that $100 million org like Talking Points with scores of attorneys would allow Colvette, Erica Harpole to answer alibi questions in a criminal case at all, or at least not through a lawyer. Brother, there's things that's even worse than that. Like there are things that I'm working on that are worse than that. You wouldn't believe the trails and things these people have said to other people. You wouldn't believe it. Slow down the chat. Oh, it's too late now. Y'all got to tell me ahead of time. I know you. Maybe next time. I'll try to slow it down. That's all the many comments about it. I saw the comments. Towards the Go Joe Fund, we got to make up for slow people. See, Brant, here's what I'm telling you, Brant. Joe doesn't even need $100 because the books that I was showing Joe were under $30 and some of the coursework was free. You don't have to be that way. You can get smart. Take some of the time that Joe said when you're on the toilet, instead of scrolling, pull up an introductory logic class. You will be better for it. I took multiple logic classes in college. They're very helpful. Thank you for that generous donation. Baron, I want to applaud you. Van Allen radiation belt. Joe probably thinks BLM riots were peaceful and George Floyd didn't have any drugs running through his veins. Joe probably thinks Biden doesn't have dementia either. Dementia. Probably. Poor Joe. If I ever need a lawyer, I want you to defend me against retarded people. Oh my gosh, that's great. That is funny. Go Max, love you and your family. Thank you. Very kind. Mallory. I know a Mallory. He's got 3 L's in his name though. To see. Deep State has succeeded in the past 25 years because most of the country thinks like Joe. She shouldn't take it personally. She's been taught to think that way, and TPUSA's allies are reinforcing her thinking. That was my point. I tried to make that point during the program. It's not necessarily Joe's fault. Joe was educated by people who think that way. She was raised by people who think that way. She's probably friends with people who think that way. I can't believe they would give that guy the time of day. Do you know what he's alleged to have done? Do you know what he might have done? Are you aware of his past? Do you know what the women are saying about him? Yes, I know. And then I turn on my podcast and the Real Baron podcast, Baron Coleman is there supporting him. Baron Coleman is there supporting Mitch with all of these allegations against him. I mean, I can't believe it. It's not Joe's fault. Joe was raised by stupid people. Need more calling out room temperature IQ people. Agreed. People need to start feeling shame again before they post stupid things. Thank you for starting the movement. I'm doing my best in here. And I've told my kids, like, I had this conversation with somebody at work not long ago. I said, you understand, like, Think of the average person you come across. Like you're at the store, just think of the average person you run across. Half the people are stupider than that. Do you understand that? Half the people on earth are stupider than that person. Scary thought. These people vote. They drive cars. They operate heavy machinery. Like they should be treated like drunks, isolated. Like you're not allowed to do anything. You can't testify. You can't vote. You can't operate heavy machinery. You can like sit on couches, maybe take a nap. Like we don't need to let them in public. Thank you, Baron, for your professional insight. Love that you take this so seriously. We can't stop fighting for Charlie's truth. Well, thank you. Very generous of you. You, Ian, and Candace have all inspired me to advocate for truth and justice in more than just my little town. Thank you. Amateur hour or not, you keep going, Max. Blessings to you and your family this time of year. Well, thank you. Very kind. You guys are unbelievably kind. Dog me all you want, ladies, but chill out about Baron's temper already. The man is as passionate about finding the truth as you all are about your handbags, makeup, and cheating, so chill out. Hey, roll that beautiful bead footage. Listen, I am very patient. Some people might argue with that. I'm pretty patient. What I don't tolerate is bad logic. Like that will send me over the edge faster than anything. You can call me names. You can call people names. I'll say you shouldn't do that. Let's not go there. That'll get you banned. But I'll do it calmly. You can even lie. I just get it. Lying's a part of life. People lie, whatever. But if you come to me with some just obvious fallacy, I will lose it on you. I will fly off the handle. Don't do it. Don't come at me with the fallacy of the excluded middle. We're going to fight about it. This is a high IQ outfit, Joe. That rant killed me too. You know what? Sometimes I go back and watch portions of the show. That's probably not one I'll watch. That's probably not one I'll watch. That's one I'll go into the YouTube edit and I'll turn the sound down about halfway. Maybe blur the screen a little bit so you guys can't see my face turn purple. My brother Baron, that roast of Joe was great. I thought I was listening to the legend Roy D. Mercer. How big a boy are you? I loved Roy D. Mercer. Hey, Roy damn Mercer, how big a boy are you? Love the common sense you bring, helping people break their generational stupidity. I'm doing my part. Yeoman's work. It's hard, man. It's heavy. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few when it comes to that work. God bless you, my friend. Can't wait to shake your hand. Ever in OH, stop by. Oh, excuse me. That's IU. Oh, I gave you a little IU, and I shouldn't have done that considering we beat you in the Big Ten Championship. Sorry about that. If you're sniffing daffodils in your free time, go take a free logics course. Nice callback, Tiffany. I like that. That is well done. Put this towards some throat coats, Baron. Needed after that lecture. Keep it stupid free zone. I'm doing my best. Gosh. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Oh gosh. This is funny. I used to like my name, but now I guess I have to change it. It's okay, Jolene. It's okay. Are you Joe Lee in Jenkins? So is it actually Joe or is it Jolene? I like Jolene. That's a nice name. There's nothing wrong with that. You even got a Dolly Parton song named after you. Or are you named after the Dolly Parton song? You have auburn hair? Fun fact, Mike Mitchell was former detective, allegedly related to Professor Mitchell at UVU. Mike works now for a tactical comp of sorts. I sent to CO Candace Owens a few months back, but never heard back, understandably so. Mike Mitchell, that would be the retired sheriff's deputy that helped assist Tyler Robinson turning himself in. Is that who you're talking about? That's an interesting set of facts there, if it's true. Let's see. Thank you for being brave enough to speak up and bringing us all this info. My husband and I are too busy and tired with a business and two small children to do our own research. Keep raising those kids, Dragonfly. That's the most important job you'll ever have. It's so much more important. Jesse on Fire said he has frangible 30-06 rounds. He's pew-pewing them tomorrow. I will watch that. Is he doing it live or is he going to? Another one. He must have just said it. Jesse on Fire got like 10 frangible rounds for the 1940s. Going to do a test too. Good. I can't wait to see it. I just want the truth. If frangible rounds stop in a soft neck, great. Do rounds expire? I mean, I know it's a stupid question, but I don't know that. Van Allen radiation belt. That was a good looking Van Allen radiation belt. That was a good looking steak to waste. Thank you, Baron, for everything you've done. I wish you and your family happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Thank you for the back-to-backer tonight, Van Allen radiation belt. Sorry you had to change your name on my account, but it's worth it. It's a great name. Could you have an X space with John, Aaron Bray, and Candace? It would bring amazing analysis and evidence for truth. Thank you for your wonderful work, Baron. You know, you would never turn down an opportunity to do an X space with Candace. I mean, like that's gonna elevate your game. So I would always be open to that. I don't know if John and Candace would be open to that, but you know, of course. That's like saying, would you like to, you know, walk on the moon? Well, no, by all means, please find somebody a little more interesting. Yeah, I want to walk on the moon. I'd love to do that. 2 engineers running 1 board, 4 speakers, 2 mics is normal. Agreed. Simple and cheap. Guest wouldn't hurt. Mic by touching, too small for that crowd. Where's the board? Who broke it down? Might have answers. I looked at some images. Somebody emailed me and said, hey, why is there no soundboard? I looked at images. That's a great question. Where was the board? Can we talk about how Candace said Harpool's relationship has soured with turning points, excuse me. Yes, we can. I think it's soured far more than the public knows. Like really soured. Really soured. TriggerSmart. We got royalty. Modern frangible rifle ammo would have exited violently. Jesse on Fire has 1940s frangible 30-06. Interesting to see how that goes. Hey, Brandon, everyone. Yeah, guys, get over to TriggerSmart. Give him a follow. He does great content. These gun guys are fun. They're entertaining. They're entertaining to watch. Yeah. Baron, best show yet. AAA responses to Harrison, Morgan, and especially Joe. Also, thank you for talking about our money. Andrew Jackson, GOAT, vetoed the bank bill of 1832. Have you seen the agenda? It is on YouTube. I have not, but if it's about Andrew Jackson, I'd like to see it. I'm assuming it is, the way you lined up that comment there. Thank you for the kind words, the generous donation, and the suggestion. No one is perfect, but I pray people realize your rant on Joe is likely directed more towards all the sheep blindly following these liars and not just this one lady. Sometimes we just have to vent. It's aimed at all stupid people. I mean, it truly is. It's aimed at all stupid people. Joe went full retard. We never go full retard, but guys, it's aimed at all stupid people. She just took the brunt of it because her stupidity rose to the top. We're investigating everything, and we're not going to stop until we find out what happened. We don't buy the Fed slop, so we the people, Baron, Candace, Ian, John B, TriggerSmart, will figure this out. Thanks for going next. We're trying, Karen. We're trying to get there. I suspect TPUSA became a money laundering scheme. My opinion. Starting with good intentions, money became great. Infiltration, money becomes God to them. Nothing else gets in the way of money. Money does weird things to people. Just does. You take an organization that had great intentions and you drop $100 million on it, people are going to get weird. I mean, weird. Has anyone seen Andrew's X feed? What was that noise? Has anyone seen Andrew's X feed last night, today? Seems like someone should take his phone. It's almost like he's taunting the public now. Yikes. Also, the Erica Kirk potential pick, thought that you posted on X would be wild. Yeah, that last sentence. Andrew Colvin is who you're talking about, is posting about the murder rate being down, is posting about, what else did he post about? He's been posting things that are totally like he's on cocaine and teasing the public about this whole thing. What was the other thing he posted? He had 2 things last night he posted. I thought, what in the world are you doing? Where was that? Andrew Colvett. He probably blocked me, but no, I'm still here. What did he say? He had and he posts a lot. I'll have to go back and find it. Yeah, murders are down 20% this year, a historic record decrease. It's wild more people aren't talking about this. We're talking about it, bro. There's one murder in particular that we're talking about. What was the other thing he talked about? Oh. I'm going to pull this one up. You guys aren't going to believe this. You're just not going to believe it. He posted this. It's almost like he's taunting us on purpose. Doge, we need to Doge Medicare and Medicaid. Doge it all, every line item. Doge New York, Illinois, California, and every other community that shelters illegals and foreigners while scapegoating native-born Americans, then deport and denaturalize all those eligible. He's posting about Doge and murder. Are you crying for help? Blink 5 times. Blink like Gary Melton. Blink like you're Gary and your witness just tanked your whole case. We'll come help you, Andrew. I can fly to Santa Barbara. I could be there tomorrow. I'll leave tonight. I'm sure there's a flight that'll get me there. I lose 2 hours going that way. It's only 6:45 their time. If you'll send me the blinks, Andrew, I'll come get you. You're gonna be fine. You can stay with me for a little while. No one will know you're here. Let's see here. 30 years in law enforcement working informants, and I can tell you I've never worked one who didn't have a criminal record, often domestic abuse and myriad scandalous escapades. Never used a pastor. Yeah. Good call. Thanks for the donation. Baron, are you willing to say that Tyler's not guilty or as charged yet? If you think Tyler's somehow involved, what evidence have you seen other than what's in the indictment to support your intellectually honest position? You the man. Payne Revere, I'm not ready to say that yet. The evidence I've seen is that he jumped in a car with his parents and drove to the station and turned himself in. So that's like one. Now there might be reasons people do that other than guilt. I've admitted that on air, but it is evidence. It might, that goes to weight, not sufficiency. It's sufficient evidence. Now you can say that it's not strong enough evidence. That's weight, not sufficiency. That's what I mean when I say that. So that's one piece of evidence. Another piece is he was there. Like he was rolling around and meeting cars and driving off. His gun was there. Again, this is weight, not sufficiency. That leads me to believe he was part of something. That leads me to believe he thought now he might testify, again, weight, not sufficiency. He might testify, I didn't know my gun was there. My roommate stole my gun. I don't know. Thank you for the generous donation though, Payne. Less than 48 hours, it'll be $30. Thank you, Humble Beginnings. In less than 48 hours, it'll be 2026. I hope it's safe to say gone are the days of the cover-up, and we wait decades to find out who assassinated our national treasures, such as JFK and MLK. It's so easy to hide the truth now. It's terrifying, isn't it, Humble Beginnings? It's really terrifying. We got to figure this out. We have got to figure this out. Tried to send this Baron. Love your content. Thanks for fighting for the truth. I am from Montana and headed to Nashville for the first time to cheer on the Bobcats in the NFC Championship. Go Bobcats. FTG, will you wear blue January 5th? The Bobcats in the NFC Championship. What are we talking about? What are they? I feel like I'm having a stroke. The Bobcats, that's a basketball team in Charlotte. The NFC, that's football. The Titans are in the AFC, so they're not playing in Nashville. I have no idea what you're talking about. But welcome to Nashville, Music City, USA. I hope you have a good time. Be careful down there, though. People go missing downtown Nashville. That's a dirty little secret. Chrissy, who is handing Harpole the mints at specific times, what's her story? Working for TPUSA, involved. I don't know her story. I mean, looking back, maybe she was doing some suspicious stuff. I know Blake had some comments about her, but I don't know. I don't know. Baron, did you happen to see Alex Jones' last podcast when he was trashing Candace and he called Erica Kirk Erica Trump? I did not see that, but I did hear he was doing that. I need to answer this because I get a lot of questions. Thank you for the donation, Joe. Did I allude to Charlie potentially being in on this plot, or did I misunderstand a previous podcast? Either way, I'm actively praying every day. Everything comes to light. Grateful for your perseverance. What I said was, it would not have surprised me. It would not surprise me if we learned definitively down the road that Charlie was aware there was going to be an attempt on his life and that potentially there was a staged response, and that staged response either went horribly wrong or intentionally wrong. Now, that wouldn't surprise me. That's not me saying it happened. That's not me saying anything. That's me questioning a lot of the movements in and around the tent and questioning the fact that he kind of seemed to brace right before it went off. If you watch somebody, for example, that's firing off a what do they call those? Squibs, blood squibs. If you watch someone firing one of those off and they're not accustomed to it, they'll flinch or they'll brace right before they do it. And that's kind of what it looks like he did. But I don't know. I just don't know. I'm investigating this, Brady. Thank you for your comment and your donation. Have a happy new year, Baron. Thank you, your dudeness. Very kind. Very kind. You know, someone's going to think my name actually has a capital R. They're going to think I'm weird. Also 3 years sober. Congratulations, Chelsea. Probably better for it. October 3, 2022. October 3, of course, being the anniversary of the Battle of Mogadishu. My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, was awarded a Purple Heart in the Battle of Mogadishu. He, if you've seen the movie Black Hawk Down, he's one of the characters is based on him. A sure enough war hero. I don't want to say his name, but absolutely heroic guy. And every time I see October 3, I think of him, because that was back in 1993 on October 3. October 3, 2022, that's your sober date. Best decision you ever made. Keep up the good fight. Congratulations, Baron. Much love to you and your family. I will say going sober is a top 5 decision I've ever made. No doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. My life is infinitely better since stopping drinking. And let me, this is a serious moment here. If you're a drinker, I'm not judging you. If you don't want to be a drinker and you're a drinker, get help. It's hard to do on your own. Talk to somebody, have a friend who's done it, bounce ideas off of, talk to. I will assure you the first 7 days are not ideal. It gets a little easier. And then after about a month or two, it just becomes a mental grind. And after about 6 months, the mental grind starts to slow up a little bit. So if you're a hard drinker or drinking is interfering with your work life, your family life, your health, and you want to stop, find a friend who's done it and ask them to help you. And you will be better for it. Are there public vids pics of these search dogs from the crime scene and what they seemed interested in? It could lead a theory. Happy New Year, Baron. I wasn't aware there were search dogs. I would love to see those pics. I wasn't aware there were search dogs. Emailed you this, dots on Charlie's arm, possibly related to syringe Brian Harpole gave to the distraction female prior to the beginning of the show. I saw that email, and I actually looked it up, and I went back and watched that image of him holding the syringe with when that girl came up, Chrissy. So yeah, I got your email. We're on the same. We're not on the same page because it wasn't conclusive to me, but it certainly raised an issue that needs to be looked into. They all do. I owned a towing business with government contracts. That sounds fun. I don't know why. That sounds fun to me. Drive around big equipment, kind of running your own life. That sounds like a great job. One was a CHP evidence contract. Any vehicle involved in the crime is stored until the trial ends. Why was the vehicle cleaned and sold? It's a great question. A great question, miss. Happy belated birthday from another December baby. Fentanyl is leading cause of death to 18 to 45. Lost my 21-year-old 3 years ago today. Amy, that's devastating. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. I have kids approaching that age. I've got a 19-year-old. I've got a 17-year-old. I cannot imagine how I would wake up each day. And I'm sorry that you've gone through that. Genuinely sorry. I'm very sorry. I'll be praying for you. I mean that. I don't just say that. I actually will. Devastating. Yeah. Get off the drugs. Get off the alcohol. Turn to Jesus. There's got to be a song in that. Turn to Jesus. Got to be some way to pep that up. I'm sorry. Thank you for the generous donation, by the way, Amy. Thank you for the show. Loved not drinking. Me too, Tammy. Became health craze 18 years ago, plus on call a lot. I kind of think the X's on Snow are being paid by a rich group of investors. Well, wouldn't that be something? If they go find a bunch of people and go, but I mean, look, I think there's paperwork on some of these girls. Let's not try to absolve Mitch Snow of all his sins, because I think there are some sins. Bomb Dog found. Woo! Bomb Dog Fund. I'm mad I was late and missed the Joe comment. Happy New Year and many blessings to you and your family. I based on when the comments rolled in, I think it's about the hour mark, hour and a half mark, somewhere there. Yeah, about the hour mark. Go back and watch that. Thank you for the generous Bomb Dog Fund. We're up to 150 in the Bomb Dog Fund. I question most authenticity, but I trust Candace and you. You're blowing up. Don't let cash change that, please. Thank you for the show. Look, nothing's changing me. I am who I am. I'm too old to change. I'm 46 years old. I don't leave my house. Someone told me the other day, someone sent an email saying I looked washed out. Well, A, thanks. B, it's the middle of the winter. Have you ever been to Nashville in the winter? Like a gray haze sets in about Halloween and it leaves about Easter. And it gets cold and it's drizzly all the time. So I got nothing to change. Nothing to change. I'm just going to invest the money back into the program. And now what the money will do potentially is free me up to do more shows. I mean, I think hopefully I'll be giving you guys an announcement along those lines here in the next couple of days. I question most. Yeah. Sorry. I just read that. Hi, Baron. Leaning towards your electrocution theory. His tensed motion under the tent and extended arms while being carried to the vehicle looked odd. Electrocution causes muscles to contract. Keep up the great work. Hey, someone emailed me something that I've been researching. Electrocution also can cause you to have goosebumps. Now go back and look at those high-quality CMW photos. Has the availability of 30-06 rounds changed over time? Meaning, have they always been difficult to get a hold of? I'm wondering if they've become scarce since 9/10 or since the narrative came under such scrutiny. I think frangible rounds are pretty difficult to find. I mean, why would you want them? Like, why would you want a frangible round? I mean, I know people with hundreds of thousands of rounds. They don't have a single frangible round. Baron, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. You can always tell the planned length of the show by the size of the mason jar. Big show tonight, guys. Someone, I went to the gym the other day and a guy was like, hey, like the show. What do you do when you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the show? You go like 3 hours. And I was like, bear down, boys. Molars are floating. That's when I start reading the comments real fast. A-Box, 50 of them. Thank you, Sonja. I know a Sonia and I know a Sanja, both spelled the same way. Not sure what you are, but thank you for the generous donation. You're doing great. Keep going. Don't let the noise get to you. What noise? The people who matter know that you do your due diligence too, just like Candace, and she wouldn't bring anyone on her show without it. Cheers. Happy 26. And God bless. God bless to you as well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let Joe have it again. Wandering around air condition. All right. I might have to go back and listen. I don't know what all I said. I have to go back and listen to it now. You guys are going to hold me accountable for those clips. I need to know what I'm charged with. I got to review the tape. I feel a little bit like those people, like the MK Ultra victims. I don't know. I blacked out. I don't know what. I woke up in a jail cell. I'm about to watch it. The exit paths could cause the plastic bits and chain mounts. What exit paths? The exit paths. Plastic bits and I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Do you think Gary would prefer gold sequins or silver sequins for a shirt I'm making him so he can have a matching sequin pantsuit? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I know Erica's big into gold sequins. I don't know anything about Gary's preferences. Please look at July dates. Why am I looking at July dates? Hold on, someone told me to look something up here. Why am I looking at July dates? You, Anderson, Ian, and Candace, and a few others have said mid-July dates, possibly the extra small detonator. I believe there were other things that aligned. Also, I feel like Valhalla was misled. Gary spoke to Mitch. Yeah, I have other things. I have other mid-July things. I do think it started earlier than that, though. I want to say much earlier. I think Charlie's days were numbered far earlier than we thought. Per Google, in Utah, the right to a speedy trial guaranteed by the U.S. and Utah constitutions. Incarcerated has specific time frames like 45 days in custody or 75 days out of custody. How long has Tyler been in custody? So one thing you're discounting, and it often happens, and I'm assuming this happens also in Utah, most states, if you request discovery, the speedy trial date, it does not waived. It's just totally transformed. So, if you show up and you're like, I'm ready to go trial right now, boys, they've got to try you quick. Like apparently in Utah, it's 45 days. But I mean, that's gambling because you don't know what they have. Now, if you say, I would like to know everything you're going to use against me, boom, clock stops, everything changes. So let's keep it all in context. But thank you for doing the legal research. Could they have convinced Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, TPUSA, they could fake his death in order to place equipment on him? But the real plan was to take him out, maybe saying a malfunction accidentally killed him or he's alive somewhere. Happy New Year. As to your first sentence, that's kind of my thought. Not my thought. That's kind of a theory that I've entertained, is that you convince him, hey, we're going to fake this. We're going to have to put this, and this on you in order to pull off the faking. And then that equipment is what ends up killing you. I've thought that. I don't know, though. I don't know. Not sure Harpole was as close to Charlie Kirk as we're led to believe, and or didn't often accompany him on trips. Sean Ryan asked about his favorite memory with Charlie Kirk, and he said just getting to talk while eating at a restaurant. Charlie Kirk's last trip. Really? I thought that was a little weird as well. Like, my favorite memory of Charlie Kirk is talking to over sushi. I mean, that's weird to me. That's weird to me. Much love, Baron. Let's go Hoosiers. I'm going to Orem next week. Chat reply to this super if you have some requests for photos from the campus or anything of that nature, as I'm unable to give my email. I'm thinking of heading out there. Maybe my wife and I will jump on a plane and head out there for a couple of days. Wander around. Yeah, several people have commented this. So this is what I've been checking out. So I've been kind of half occupied on this screen over here. Cabot Phillips allegedly dropped an alibi. I've been looking at it. I don't think that's an alibi. I mean, I'll show you what he dropped, and we can all look at it together. But one of them is the wrong date, and the other one is metadata that can. It's in a form that can be changed. It's not the type of metadata that can't be changed. This is what people don't understand about iPhones. So here's what he tweeted. My response to Candace: I was not at Fort Huachuca on 9/8 and 9/9 and never have been. Well, okay. Well, this is good. This is a development. He's the first one that I'm aware of to say this definitively. Cabot Phillips, well done. Honestly, like, regardless of the rest of this, you've won me over by saying that definitively. As a fellow Nashvilleian, I'm happy, or Middle Tennessean. We'll say that. I'm not sure exactly where you live. I was home in Nashville both days. On the afternoon of the 8th, I attended an ultrasound with my wife and stopped to get balloons for a gender reveal with our son that evening. It's a boy, if anyone was wondering. Well, congratulations on having a child. The following morning, I was at work as usual. Here are photos and surveillance footage below to prove my whereabouts. Go touch some grass, folks. You're being lied to. So this surveillance footage is from the next morning. I don't think the allegation was that he was seen on September 9th. I think it was that he was seen on September 8th, which is fine. I mean, this is better than nothing, but it's not addressing the 8th. It's addressing the 9th. And this is what I was talking about that can be changed. If you click on a picture, see how it says adjust right there in blue? You can touch that adjust button and you can change this date. You can even change this location. I hope that's not his house, by the way. Oh, no, it's not. I was going to say, please don't put your house on X. Now, I will say this. I'm glad he doesn't have a full beard because that might settle some Beardgate issues. But what a weird picture to take, by the way. That where is that? I might drive there tonight. That's a weird picture. Who takes that picture at the grocery store? Like, unless you needed an alibi. Like, let's just think counterfactually with me. And I'm not saying this would happen. I'm glad he said he wasn't there. I'm hoping he wasn't there. I'm glad he said he wasn't there because he's the first one to be definitive about it. But let's just think counterfactually. You're alleged to be there. You can't prove you were somewhere else. So you rush out to the local Publix or Winn-Dixie or where are you here? Oh, it looks like Publix. You rush out to the local Publix. You get this picture taken with some a horrific diet. There's so many carbohydrates, you're going to have diabetes next week. But you rush out, you get this picture taken, you grab a couple of balloons, and then you update the metadata to say it's here. Like, that doesn't prove anything to me. I don't know. The strongest piece of evidence in this is the fact that he said definitively, I was not there. The fact that you took a weird picture that nobody would has anybody ever gone to Publix and bought balloons and taken a picture of themselves that look like that? Which Publix is that? That's up in West Nashville. I know where that is. That's off Charlotte. I know exactly where that is. I know where I'm going in the morning. I know where I'm going in the morning. There's enough in that photo. Unless they head back up there and buy every balloon in the place, there's enough, and there's enough in that photo. We can tell when that photo was taken. Too bad it's 9:00 at night. I wish you'd have put that at 5 in the afternoon. I wouldn't be doing a show. First time catch you live. Cool. We get to share and you grow on your channel. Guess I'll have to change my name now. Only for you. Jolene, again, we've talked about that. You don't need to change your name. No need to change your name. Baron, assuming arguendo. Ooh, nice use of a legal word there, Payne. Nobody connected to Charlie Kirk was at Fort Huachuca. Where does that leave us? Several dead ends. France, electric, Egypt, planes, explosion. Generally concerned. Feds can cover this up 100%. Several things. One is France isn't my theory. I don't know what Candace has on that. Egypt planes, again, not my theory. I did find a few additional Egyptian planes in America, tracked them down, made it public. But again, that wasn't my thing. Explosion to me is not a dead end. Like, that's a very live end. The electrocution is a very live end. So I don't know much about the other theories, and you've named a couple of very much live ends. So I don't think this is that our theory is in any danger. Chuck, thanks. Very generous. Wow. Izzy, $100 and nothing to say. I bet you're very popular. When you say roll footage, all I can think of is the Bush Bean commercials. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Angel, why I'm saying that, and I don't know if you're not watching the screen, there's a commenter. His name is Roll That Beautiful Bean Footage. This is why I say that. And I say it because of the commercial. So, yeah. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Tonight is my birthday. Oh, I got 2 birthday girls on tonight. 3 pretty girls. Tonight is my birthday. Can't think of a better way to spend it. Thank you for all you're doing for Charlie. Thank you, 3 pretty girls. Happy birthday to you. We had somebody else celebrating a 38th. You're small, but it looks like you might be even younger than the person celebrating the 38th. So, welcome to another trip around the sun. It'll be your best one yet. Baron Von Go Max Coleman. I'll do my best. First super chat for me was for Epic Rant for Joe. You're amazing. Thank you, Izzy. Oh, I see. That was the $100. Thank you. Very generous. Very generous. Joe is the new Karen. On this show, she is. My sincerest apologies to Joe, but I couldn't help myself. Don't be a Joe. Don't be a Joe. All right, let me see. I'm going to have to speed this along because it's after 9. I got to work tomorrow. Thank your family for sharing their king. You have a gift, and I look forward to seeing your future. Christ is king. Christ is king. Christ is king. I am not the king. YouTube won't let me say what I wanted. You don't know a single blank gay that is monogamous, but it's the truth come from a gay. Milo gets it, and I am too. Now I don't know that because those aren't my people, but that's your opinion. That's your opinion. That's funny. And thank you for the very generous donation. You think Mitch has images of Erica at the base, huh? I said, wouldn't it be interesting if Mitch had images of Erica at the base? You think also Candace has more information that verifies Erica Harpole were at the base too, don't you? I don't think we've heard the whole story, if that answers your question. I'll say that. Thank you for being you, my favorite podcast. You never miss an episode. You are a national treasure. Oh, Jamie, you are a national treasure. You are a national. I've never met a Jamie I didn't like. I've met a lot of them. So you're in great company. You're gonna have to replay this whole episode because after you had the Joe crash out, all I could do was read the live chat comments and die laughing again. I missed the rest of it. You're welcome to you're welcome to watch it. I'm gonna have to listen to the Joe crash out. My space bar is not working, but I love your show. It looks like you sneaked one space in there. Why is your space bar not working? Did you spill coffee on it or something? Sorry to hear that. Your joy of life and great laugh makes my day. Oh, thank you. And hold, please, Whitney. What are we holding for, Whitney? What are we holding for? I'm holding. Oh, you had another comment. Adding to the merch ideas, I'm huge in the Balkans, befuddled by daffodils, and don't be Joe. Yes. He does have a Venmo. You could send money to him instead of Amazon merch list. I actually do have a Venmo. Every now and then it dings. I've gotten a few of them here and there. You're welcome to hit that up. Yes. Hold, please. Whitney. Thank you. Baron, have you seen my email regarding clinical medical insight, inward, outward wound edges analysis of neck? I have. Were you the one that had the shirt down around the neck wound? Is that you? Sandy Fetty? If so, I read it. Alethea, agape. Is it agape or agape? I've heard it both ways. Maybe it was both. What if they convinced him to do the stage performance in order to pull off the outcome? That would be the key. That would be the key. Cabot Phillips just sent, and thank you. I didn't even notice that. Thank you for that generous donation. Cabot Phillips sent Candace Owens on X's alibi. Her reply is great. Oh, I didn't even see her reply. What was her reply? Hold on. I got to pull it up because it does look good. Hold, please. There we go. All right. For everyone new to how iPhone metadata works, you can change this easily on every photo you capture. For example, this is my cat who died in 2021. The photo was captured in 2015. I just edited the metadata to reflect Nashville and say it was taken tonight. However, if I text this edited photo, the receiver can trace the edits. I just want Cabot to text this over to me so we both can be done with this. Oh. Ouch. It's hot. It hurts. Oh, no. Sorry if you fell asleep to my velvety tones. What does it just mean? Guys, I'm sorry. The giveaway was that anyone would stand there and take that picture at Publix. You've never bought balloons before. That's the giveaway. My apologize for the misspellings and thank you. What did we misspell? Oh, were you the one that had the couldn't comment? Is there anyone out there who occasionally drinks a beer? Whatever happened to normalcy? Love having a beer too. Maybe 3 on a Saturday and then nothing for a week or two. No problem. Hey, Tobias, a lot of people can do that. Absolutely. I'm not among them. I had one friend explain it to me this way. He said, some people can have a beer or two and go to bed and wake up the next day and go to work. I have a beer or two and I wake out blacked out in Biloxi. Not me. That was his thing. And I never felt like I was in that kind of shape, but you know, a beer or two tonight, that was nice. Well, why not do it again tomorrow? And then two's not quite enough. So why not 3 or 4? And you know what's better than beer is Hendrix on the rocks with a couple of Blue Chief stuffed olives. And well, if I'm going to have 2, I might as well have 5. That's the problem. That's the problem with some of us. Good for you, Tobias. My apologies for the misspellings and thank you. Yeah, I didn't mean to call you out twice. Baron, here's where we don't agree. What actual proof do you have that Tyler Robinson was at UVU on 9/10? Please don't say those picks. Absolutely love your work. Happy New Year's. I know you decided to come full time. Stay tuned on that last sentence. I think I'll be making progress on that here soon. I don't have actual proof that Tyler Robinson was at UVU. I didn't see him there. What I have is a Tyler Robinson who, if he was not at UVU, why is he turning himself in? You know what I mean? Like, you can't isolate every fact from every other known fact and then only look at that isolated fact. You have to look at the totality of the circumstances. His car was there. He was seen driving back from there. He was getting gas driving back from there. You know, he's on a gas station video the next morning pumping gas on his way presumably back to St. George. So there's more than just that. His phone allegedly pinged in one of the parking lots. That's why they went and looked at the video. So that particular safe is boring. That particular safe is boring. Unless you like legal documents and stuff. Not a lot of fun in there. Sorry to disappoint you. This was a law office turned radio studio or turned podcast studio. But if you work from home, there are certain rules that certain things must be kept locked in certain, separate and apart from just the entry lock to get into this room. So if you have an extra gun safe, you bring it into the office and you lock everything up. So that's a boring safe. Sorry to have disappointed you so dearly. Blink like you're Gary if you need him. Charlie Kirk bracing for something. Time it with touching his hand mic. He completed the circuit for the chest mic. Also, thank you for saying we should shame the slow Joes in the world. Don't be a Joe. Don't be a Joe. Oh, man, we're 3 hours and 20 minutes in. I got to hustle. Erica wasn't at the meeting that morning. Question, what was she doing at a hotel with possibly her ex-boyfriend or anyone while Charlie's out of town? Just fine. There's a lot of assumptions built into that she was at the hotel and she, there's a lot of assumptions there. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just say Mitch said he thought he saw her and she has not yet provided an alibi. That I think we can all agree with. Your rant was aimed at all stupid people. Honey Badger, don't be offended. Well, hang on just a minute, mister. As a leader of my local chapter of Stupid People Anonymous, I resent your remarks. Sir, you are an anti-dummite. I am an anti-dummite. You remember that Seinfeld episode about the anti-dentite? That was funny. That was good comedy. Blink twice, AK. We will come save you. I was thinking the same thing you were last night. Yeah. Brother, Andrew, we will get you out of there. It's like a hostage situation. We will get you out. We'll get you safe. We'll get you warm, fed, dressed, get you a haircut, whatever you need. Okay, here's where you gave an alibi. Anyone can do it at any time, anywhere. Go to your Google Maps, hit the timeline, then scroll to the date in question and screenshot your timeline for the day. Click post. Well done. Wow. Except I turned mine off. I don't want Google Maps tracking me. But if you have not turned it off, that is a way to do it because it does follow you around all day. The magazine in the background was the anniversary for I Love Lucy, which was in October, not September. Yeah, but I don't want to harp on that because they put those out before. What I do know is, well, I'm not going to tell you what I know. There's something in that picture that I will be able to confirm when I show up there when they open in the morning. And I will be there. What time do they open? Well, the Publix on Charlotte Pike. Is that where he was? Let's look together, shall we? Oh, I can't look with you because it has my address on it. Publix, Charlotte, Pike, Nashville, Tennessee. Yep, that's the Publix where he was right there. I'm good. I could pick that out from his little I don't think this has my address on it, does it? Well, we're gonna look together. So that's the Publix right there. What time do they open? They open at, they close at 10. Great. He can skedaddle over there and buy up all the balloons. They open at 7 a.m. I'll be there at 6:55. I'll be there at 6:55 tomorrow. Oh, look, it's LGBTQ friendly. That's why he went there. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I cracked myself up. You better get back and you better know what it is I'm looking at in that image. Because there's one thing in that image you're not going to be able to change, and that is time sensitive. Keep in mind, I used to consult for a grocery store chain. I know how they do that stuff. But not Publix. All right. Baron, thank you, Payne. This is another generous donation. I thought experiment. If someone, a donor, has standing to bring suit against TP for example, for breach of fiduciary duty, unjust enrichment, et cetera, and then survive the motion to dismiss, there could be sweet, expansive discovery. Let's spitball it. That's an interesting legal theory. I've never put much thought into that, but I'd have to research that to see if that's even possible. I don't even know if that's possible. And I just realized I told all my enemies where I'll be at 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. We're pulling the bulletproof vest out. Oh, man. Got to get that out. Maybe I should have said I was going at noon. Should have said I was going to. If I would have gotten off the radio, if I'd have gotten off the podcast 20 minutes ago, I could have made it over there in time. But now by the time I get there, the show gets done processing, it'll be 10 o'clock. Thank you. That's an interesting question, Payne. I hadn't considered it. Love the show. Happy New Year. Why did he buy pink balloons for a boy? Maybe he didn't know. You know, this is one of those, what is it the kids do? A gender reveal. Erica Kirk looks to me like she's been MK Ultra'd. Her eyes are evil now. I don't remember them that way before. Did you guys see the Twitter feed where every time she glared, she did that? I can't even do it. She does this like glare thing, and every time it did it, it was like played horror music. So she's sitting there talking. She's like, "Yeah, yeah, I know. I was there. I was." What do you say to those people? It's wild. It is wild. Oh, the space bar is back, baby. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Guys, it's been 3.5 hours. I've got to go to the bathroom. So I have to let you go. I could probably make it over to that Publix in time, but I want to get the show processed and up tonight. Have fun. I'll see you guys with probably some news Friday. I will be here Friday night. Make your plans. Maybe I'll go early, like 4 or 5 o'clock, so that you guys can enjoy your evenings separate and apart from your humble host. But thank you. You guys are amazing. You guys are absolutely amazing. So thank you for all your time. And if you have any questions, email me, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's huge. Liking the video is huge. We got 20,000 people on here. Do we have 20,000 likes yet? No, only 12,000 likes. That means 8,000 of you haven't liked it. Go like it real fast. So take care of that. Subscribe, click notifications, and share with your friends. Share profligately, friends. And don't forget, even Cabot Phillips, even Andrew, even Erica, Jesus loves you. Don't forget, Jesus loves you.